I don't think that's relevant to the conversation. I don't think that's pertinent. The main thing's the main thing. Oh, God. Oh, His Highness. Hey, keep the main thing the main thing. I don't think that's pertinent to the conversation that we're having here. Holy cow. I mean, damn. Yeah, nothing's changed. Why didn't you go to the White House? Completely irrelevant to the conversation we're having here. No, it's just a question, dude. Main thing's the main thing. What? Holy cow. This guy, you talk about an egomaniac. Holy cow, this guy's like Frankenstein creating the monster. Main thing, the main thing. Main thing, the main thing. I think it's completely irrelevant. Boy, I'll tell you, man. Unbelievable. Man, the ego on that guy since he won the MVP, and he won the MVP of the team. King Hurts. That's his new name. King Hurts. Excuse me, all of you. Yeah, I'll let you know what questions I will answer. Bob, put them on my agenda and on my list. Make sure you run those questions through Nicole Lynn. Want to make sure that nothing is being asked that I don't feel like asking or answering. Main thing, the main thing. Yeah. I've heard a lot of championship quarterbacks talk like that. Wow. I mean, Patrick Mahomes any day. I mean, seriously. Like, I've never heard Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes talk like that. I mean, more like, can't get right, hurts. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you, Kyle. By the way, all supers go to the top. I was a little bit perplexed by the king and his court today and the conversation he was having. All you little minions down there, you guys all stay down in the front row, and I'll make sure we get all the questions and we filter them through to Nicole. Okay? Make sure we get it all cleaned out and make sure all questions are thrown through Nicole Lynn. All right. We'll talk a little bit about what the players said and a little bit about Nick Sirianni. By the way, still no details. No, everybody, like I said, so much to get to today. Okay? So much to get to. Please hit the like button. Supers go to the top. That guy makes me not like, I don't know. I mean, you can't say not root for him because he's a really good leader and all that other stuff, but he's weird, Jalen Hurts, or King Hurts. He's weird. It's a weird dude. The way he talks like in a third person. I don't know. Just weird. Like, doesn't come off like genuine or something. I don't know. Just weird. Like when I hear Brady talking or Mahomes talking, I just don't hear the same guy. I actually heard a better guy in 22 when things were new. Okay? It's all of a sudden like, he's a different guy. Success, again, how you handle it. So I don't know. He just sounds different. Main thing, the main thing. I don't think it's relevant to the conversation about going to the White House or not. Bro, you made a choice. You're the starting quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. Answer the question. Remember what Boomer Esiason said about playing with the contract and understanding the contract? Well, that's part of it. You're the face of the franchise. Act like it. Hey, I didn't go to the White House because I just didn't want to create any kind of dust up or any kind of new noise. Brady didn't go 1 year. And so I just didn't want to be the centerpiece and the center of attention on this. I wanted my teammates to do it. There's all kinds of ways you can answer it. Okay? I thought he was a clown today. No, it just came off stupid. Just looked dumb. I mean, that's not, I don't know, it was uncomfortable. Like, he's gotten worse behind the mic. I love Jordan Mailata today. I thought Jordan Mailata was sensational. You want to know the leader of that team, in my eyes? It's your left tackle. Your left tackle was so good today. I completely enjoyed listening to Jordan Mailata. By the way, Zander will join us at 3:30. Gary Cobb is there at the NovaCare Center, and we are going to hear from Gary Cobb. John Morgan will join us at 5:30 Eastern. Still, Jalen came off as an arrogant, combative, and a little disingenuous. Those Met galas, photo shoots, and eating fancy hors d'oeuvres changed him. Hey, dude, I thought he was arrogant too, and I thought he was obnoxious. Came off obnoxious to me. He just sounded and looked dumb. I mean, of all things to do in Philly, that wasn't it. Main thing, the main thing. I'm tired of that guy. Just talk normal. The main thing, the main thing. Hey, man, we got to follow a process. This guy talks like he's writing a book. Bro, let's be honest. Genuine. Jordan Mailata is genuine. Here, let me go back and just off the top here. Let's go with Mailata here. I thought AJ was great. I thought Hurts was a jerk. I can't tell who's a bigger clown, Hurts or Sirianni. Seriously, man, what's up with that? Both guys look like tools. Hey, and still to this, even Mailata asked, get this, even Jordan Mailata asked the question I asked. Well, how much did he get? And I heard John McMullen in the pick go, that hasn't been released yet. Even the players are asking, what did he get? Hey, one thing that's going to be true this week, we're going to get some information here on the Tush Push. And we're going to find out who's right. John thinks the guy should be paid $21 million. I'm not saying he thinks he's going to get that. I heard him put an asterisk on that. I think he's going to get 16.5. We're going to find out who's right. And I don't think he has a ton of leverage. How can a guy go from almost being fired after a 2-2 start to all of a sudden having leverage? Well, Silsey won the Super Bowl. Hey, man, that organization thinks it's more them than him. How do they not think that? You know Howie Roseman. You know Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie believe it's him and them. Here, let's ask the main question. When Jeffrey Lurie goes to the execution of running the team, do you think he values Howie more or Nick more? Or the same? Who do you think the owner values more of an opinion on? Seals, you heard J-Mac, so inspirational. The beat writer comment got him cooking with the question. Hey, I mean, right. Main thing, the main thing. I think it's completely irrelevant to our conversation. Why? You're the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. There's expectations out of you that are different than the left tackle. You know the GM has a higher and a better ear to the owner than the head coach does. That's because it stops there. That's funny right there too, Pump. Thank you for the super. Pump kicking ass right out of the gate. Main thing, the main thing. I'm actually embarrassed for Jalen Hurts today. The whole thing is a joke. And then you listen to Nick. I mean, dude, seriously, the thing is like, You're grateful for what the Eagles gave you? Hey, Nick, you did a job. Act like it. You're not a servant to the owner. I hate when people have that mentality that you owe them something. You owe an opportunity. Absolutely, the door opening. But once you have the door open and you deliver the goods, hey, man, I deliver a product for you every day. My job, coach, what have you. I'll tell you something. I'm going to give this, and this is personal. Hey, Zander. So Zander's pop called me last night, congratulated me on doing that terrestrial radio show down in Tampa. Joe doesn't make me feel like he's doing me a favor. Joe knows that we're kind of like business dudes now together. We're in the same room here. I've never felt them talk down to me. And I, in turn, have never had to talk up to them. That's a working relationship. I'm not going to kiss the ass of my boss. There's already a mutual built-in respect when you deliver the goods. By the way, liking me has nothing to do with results. Same thing with Nick. Bro, you don't owe him anything. You don't owe him anything. You do a job. You deliver a service. You create whatever it is you think he creates. Success. I mean, dude, honestly, I thought Jalen Hurts looked like a jerk today. Main thing, the main thing. What's that mean? I'm not even sure what you're talking about. Can't you talk normal? Hey, man, here, let me go through. Even AJ was better. AJ was honest. So was Mailata. Hurts was like this media doll or something. Like an actor. Here, AJ. Just a couple comments from him. Was asked about Kevin Petullo. Hey, the greatest thing he's doing right now, he's communicating. Every single time. He's a great communicator, and I really love how he's talking and what he wants to see with the new offense. I love what he said, too. I can't predict what the offense is going to look like, but we have to evolve if we're going to be successful this year. He was asked, and he answered it perfectly. You know, they were hinting around the passing game. Hey, look, I don't know what it's going to look like. All I can do is prepare. But if we don't evolve the offense, we're not going to win. It's funny. Every single time I say something, the players echo it. You start talking shit to me. Why? Players are saying the same thing I'm saying. They're saying the same shit I'm saying. What's your problem? Are you not hearing it? You guys will sit here and talk shit to me, and yet AJ and everyone echoes the same comments I make. Interesting. I mean, here, he goes like this about the tush push. I don't really care. Whatever. He did say this. He congratulated Nick. And you know what AJ even said? How much? Oh, it's not been resolved. Or it's not been put out to public. Why? If you're the highest paid coach in pro football in North America history, isn't that something the Eagles would want to tout? And stand on the highest mountain? Look what we do here. We're paying the guy the highest salary of any coach in American sports and North American history. It's because they haven't done that. I don't believe that. When you look at that coach, how do you not, if Jeffrey Lurie is so proud of the fact of Nick, why doesn't he make him the highest paid coach? And you know the Eagles would be blowing their horn on top of NovaCare if that was the case. Not true. We'll see. I know I'm right. Let's get to Jordan Mailata. He loves Nick. And when you hear him talking, here's the strength that Nick has that I like. You know what Nick has that's better than Doug Peterson? I tell my wife this all the time on coaches. It's called, my wife has a sensational bedside manner on how to talk to kids and how to talk to athletes. And I think Nick's got a great bedside manner too. Chip Kelly was terrible. Okay? Chip Kelly was terrible. We all agree with that. But he's got a great bedside manner, Nick, and how to talk to players. That's a talent. There's no doubt there's a value to that. Okay? That's a talent. When you could sit there and motivate people. And so Mailata loves the guy. He didn't want to divulge who's got the lead at the right guard position. And he turned the question around. He's pretty savvy, Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata's your leader. Not that stupid shit that I heard, main thing, and it's irrelevant and this and I don't know what the hell that is, man. He is so weird, Jalen Hurts. Just weird. When somebody can't give you a straight answer or they whisper, I don't trust you. He thinks the name Tush Push is stupid. And he goes, I don't care if they ban it, they don't ban it. I have no in. All we're doing is our installs right now. We're getting ready for what we're going to look at and what we're going to see this year. So I don't really care. He goes, by the name, it's a stupid name. Jordan Mailata is great. I love listening to him. This was a sensational point by Jordan Mailata today. You know, with all the offensive coordinators that Jalen Hurts has had, how many right guards has Lane Johnson played next to in the last 5 years? How many right guards has he played next to? And to not have a guy fall off. Mailata said that him and Landon have over 1,000 reps together. How many right guards has Lane Johnson played next to and never a drop-off in his ability or his game or how people see him? That's incredible. By the way, you guys maybe that's what's going to happen to Jalen Carter. You know, when you lose a guy like Josh Sweat and Milton on each side and you got lesser players, how well are you going to play? Lane Johnson, I mean, that's incredible. I didn't really think of that. Think about this. He's on an island out there with a new face every single – well, shit, man. The last couple of years, right? Mackay back then. Cam Jurgens. Isaac Seumalo, right? So the last 3 years, it's been three guys, three different players at that position. Never a drop-off. It's just never a drop-off. That just shows you the greatness. And like you said, Yale, go back when he started his career. How many right guards is the Eagles, and how many have the Eagles gone through? 10? Insane. How that guy has played at that level for all these years and all these decades, and he's never had a drop-off. And there have been a cast of different characters every year at that right guard position. It's a testament to coaching, and it's a testament to Lane Johnson's ability. Shows you how great he is. And they say rugby has no relevance to football. Absolutely, rugby does. It's one of the reasons why I love rugby. I watch it every weekend now. My wife and my daughter are savants at it. They constantly are talking strategy. They're talking about what this is and what that does and this. It's like listening to Belichick. These guys talk about what's good, what's not good, what this team does well, and many of the same fundamentals. And by the way, if you don't think rugby was the blueprint for pro football, the only really true thing that's different is the forward pass. That's it. There's nuances that are different in it, but hey, no question. A lot of the formula and a lot of the fundamentals. That's why you're seeing more teams hiring rugby coaches, because they're teaching you form tackling. I say it all the time. Rugby players, you want to see great tackling? You want to see lame ass tackling? Watch the NFL. You want to see great tackling, form tackling? Watch rugby. Angles, head up, all of that you're taught as a kid. Hit the like button here. I thought that was a great line. I didn't think about all the great players that Lane has had to play next to, or maybe not so great, at right guard. Here's some of Hurts that I could stomach. I've stayed true to myself. And, I have to maintain, the things that I do. And I have to stay true to myself. This guy's like Jay-Z. Every year's been different. Now, this is what I do dig, and this is a great comment by him. He's right. And you want to know that this is probably why he wins. This stuff today was stupid. But I'll tell you one comment he did make that I thought was awesome. Jalen Hurts. Jalen said something today. Every year has looked different. They obviously listened to the program because that's been my contention. Every year has been different. Funny, you guys don't want to hear when I say it. When they say the same shit I say. And there's nothing different. But he did say something. I don't care how it looks. Every year has been different. I just want to win. And I believe that. I do. I believe that. And I think that's the one characteristic that separates him from every other quarterback in pro football. Josh Allen's not changing his game. You know what? When Josh did change his game, after they went from Ken Dorsey to Joe Brady, and he bought in, a year later, he was the MVP. He bought in. They fired Ken. They elevated Joe Brady. A year later, Josh Allen's MVP. He bought in. He bought into what they were trying to accomplish. Hey, you don't have to throw for 700 yards at Buffalo. Okay, you don't. And he won the MVP award. Do you know what the MVP award means? Let me show you something here. Remember this. The MVP award in the NFL for the regular season means you were the best player in the sport week in and week out. You know what the MVP in a Super Bowl means? You were great for one game and 60 minutes of football. Who would you rather be? I'll tell you what gets you to Canton. It's not the Super Bowl MVP. I can name you numerous guys. Joe Flacco's not going. The regular season MVP is from week 1 to week 17. The Super Bowl MVP is 60 minutes of football. I guarantee you there's more regular season MVPs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame than there are Super Bowl MVPs. Julian Edelman's not going to the Hall of Fame. He was sensational for one game. He's not Randy Moss. I mean, you think he's Randy Moss because he won an MVP? Like a Super Bowl MVP. Joe Flacco's a Super Bowl MVP. Great. And Joe Flacco will be buying tickets to go to the Hall of Fame. Remember that. Think about that distinction. You have to be good for 60 minutes in a Super Bowl. When you're the MVP of a regular season, you're great from week 1 to week 17. And your team's counting on you from week 1 to week 17. Far cry. It's called consistency. There is a far cry that's completely different in both. Fangio and Stoutland are critical pieces to this coaching staff. Everyone else is expendable. Hurts can be the best dual threat under good coaching. Yeah, Kyle, I agree. The most important game isn't really that important. Copy, makes sense. Get this. No, listen to what I just said. He's changing the words. The regular season MVP is for a guy who starts in week 1 to week 17. He's the most consistent player in the game. That's the most valuable player in pro football. In the Super Bowl, you have to be good for 60 minutes. He wasn't good in the playoff game against the Rams. He was terrible. Or was it the Green Bay game? It was terrible. He had 90 yards passing. He didn't have to be great in that game. When you're the MVP from week 1 to week 17, that's called consistency. I don't know what you're talking about, Prince. Prince, he was the guy who was the most valuable player on that football team last year, and no one can debate it. Watch this. Folks, who was the most valuable player on that football team last year? Saquon Barkley or Jalen Hurts? Who was the MVP on that team? Let's just hear what you say. I didn't say. Okay? That's right. Get this. Yeah. Here's how the people will answer the Jalen Hurts don't want to answer that. Saquon was the MVP. Wasn't a question. In my opinion, I could have made Saquon Barkley, and I think Saquon Barkley should have won the most valuable player award. I thought he was the most important and the best player from week 1, Green Bay, all the way through, even into the playoffs. I thought he was great. That was your most valuable player. Jalen played great in the Super Bowl. And by the way, is it a rip, really? That Barkley outplayed him? What's your problem? You won a Super Bowl. Why are you crying? Shit, Zach Baun was a better player last year than Hurts. Or how about this? More consistent. So when you hear Prince make that stupid comment there, he'll try to tell you that the Super Bowl MVP is more important than a regular season MVP when it comes to consistency of play, which is false. You can win the MVP award in the Super Bowl if you play great for 60 minutes. You can't play one game in the regular season and win the MVP award. That's not how that works. But Prince will try to convince you that. Then again, he's good at L takes. Get this. It is the biggest game. You're not listening. For you to win the most valuable, get this, let's see, watch this. He'll try to convince you that a guy who plays from week 1 to week 17 and a guy who plays for 60 minutes and wins the MVP award is the same. How's that possible? How are you thinking that? I'm saying you're right. Josh Allen would rather win the regular season. This is a stupid take. I said it's harder to win the most valuable player award than it is a Super Bowl MVP. Yeah, it is. Because you have to be consistent for 17 weeks. You have to be good for 60 minutes. This guy here, he's clouded with his Hurts love affair. Like I said, folks, I don't care if it's Josh Allen or Derrick Henry or Barkley. You can't play 60 minutes in the regular season and win a most valuable player award. You can do that in the Super Bowl. It's harder to win a regular season MVP because you have to be great for 6 months. This guy's dumb. This guy is dumb. He's clouding consistency. Dude, nobody's talking shit on the MVP of a Super Bowl. I'm telling you, it's harder to win the league's most valuable player because you have to be good for 6 months. How are you dumb? Because one guy has to be good for 6 months to win the most valuable player. One guy has to be good to win in one game, 60 minutes. What's harder to you? That was my take. Again, with another, who cares? Which means you can't answer it. Jesus criminy. Prince will try to make anything sound pro Hurts no matter what. Bro, let's see something here about most valuable player awards in the Super Bowl. Let me take a look at something here. Super Bowl MVPs. Let's see here. Let me take a look at this. Super Bowl most valuable players. Let's take a look at this. Let's go down Prince's stupid take because he didn't like what I was saying. Still, to his point, when's the last time a non-quarterback won the MVP? I think it was Edelman. Here. Let's take a look. Star, Hall of Fame. Chuck Howley just went in on the veterans note. Jake Scott, no Hall of Fame. Harvey Martin, no Hall of Fame. Jim Plunkett, no Hall of Fame. Phil Simms, no Hall of Fame. Doug Williams, no Hall of Fame. Otis Anderson, no Hall of Fame. Mark Rippon, no Hall of Fame. That's 7. Larry Brown, no Hall of Fame. That's 8. Dexter Jackson, that's 9. No Hall of Fame. Deion Branch, that's 10. No Hall of Fame. Hines Ward, that's 11. No Hall of Fame. Santonio Holmes, MVP, that's 12. No Hall of Fame. Joe Flacco, that's 13. No Hall of Fame. Malcolm Smith, no Hall of Fame. That's 14. Nick Foles, no Hall of Fame. That's 16. Cooper Kupp, no Hall of Fame. That's 17. Dude, 17 of the 50 MVPs. 50 plus MVPs. Almost 20 of them have been non-Hall of Fame players. Do you understand that? Who says all? Nobody's saying they're not great players. They're not Hall of Famers. Now watch this. MVPs. List of regular season MVPs, NFL MVPs. VPs. List. Let's start here in 60. Van Brocklin, Hall of Famer. Horning, Hall of Famer. Taylor, Hall of Famer. Unitas, Hall of Famer. Brown, Hall of Famer. Starr, Hall of Famer. Page, Hall of Famer. OJ, Hall of Famer. Stabler, Hall of Famer. Tarkington, Hall of Famer. Peyton, Hall of Famer. Bradshaw, Hall of Famer. Campbell, Hall of Famer. Marino, Hall of Famer. Allen, Hall of Famer. Lawrence Taylor, Hall of Famer. I'm done. Trying to tell me that the Super Bowl MVP gets you into Canton? Being a regular season MVP gets you into Canton. I mean, it's harder to win the regular season most valuable player award than the Super Bowl MVP. No, I didn't say it means nothing. I think it's a great accomplishment. It doesn't solidify your career. Canton solidifies your career. Being considered one of the top 300 men in the history of the sport. That's what solidifies your career. I got nowhere to go. I mean, a little bit more here with Hurts. What he's, I mean, I'm not even going to continue with that because I don't know what he was saying. It was just weird. Okay, it was just weird. Okay. How is that relevant to what we're saying here? What? Because you don't like that I said you had to be consistent for 17 weeks and Hurts had to be good in one game? Get over yourself. Get over yourselves. My God. Can't say anything about your girlfriend. Crazy. All right. I do want to bring this up about Nick Sirianni. And what do you think was the number one reason that changed the room for the owner last year? Besides the Super Bowl win, on Nick getting a contract extension. What was the one thing? Stop writing the most valuable player of the league. No. What was the one thing that you said or thought Nick Sirianni did last year on top of winning the Super Bowl that probably has changed how they see him in that building? What's the one thing? What's the one thing you think Nick did last year that probably changed the room for him? One thing. Accountability? Consistency? Adapt? Okay. I would say this to you. You're right. I think the one thing that he did last year, he didn't fight to change in the bye. Remember something. He's not an RPO coach. He's not a run-dominant coach. Name me a place in his coaching career. Let's take a look at this. Nick Sirianni. Name me a place where he has coached, where they ran the ball. Let's take a look at this. Nick Sirianni. Let's take a look at this here, where he is right here. Let's take a look where he's been in his coaching career. Kansas City throws the ball. San Diego threw the ball with Phillip Rivers. Indianapolis, they threw the ball with Phillip Rivers. Philadelphia, they tried throwing the ball. Last year, they ran it. Nick Sirianni is not a run. He's not a run guy. He's never been. In any stop he's ever had. You know, Jonathan Taylor ran the ball in Indianapolis. I want to give that because he's a good carrier of the ball and he's a good running back. But Nick's not a guy who's going to all of a sudden get away from the passing game. That's what he made his name on. And so he changed for the betterment of the team. And he adjusted. I think that's probably one of the reasons why they went like this. This guy's willing to adapt. I don't think Doug's willing to. I think Andy Reid is a guy that is willing to adapt to things. But if you look at Andy's offense in Kansas City, let me ask you something here. Don't you think the offense in Kansas City looks exactly like the offense he had in Philly? Except with a better player at the quarterback position. It's the same offense. Skinny receivers, and a great tight end. Right? Sills, if you burp Josh Allen's name, going to float out like a spirit. Man talks about him so much, I'm convinced he's got JA-17 carved in his headboard. Don't you guys agree? Thanks for the super there, dude. Don't you think, again, I mean, him being able to adapt like that. I mean, Andy Reid's offense is the same as it was in Philly. It's the same. There's nothing. Would we agree? Andy Reid hasn't evolved as a coach. He's the same guy. He's just got a better signal caller. Do you agree? Andy's not better of a coach. That shit still looks the same. You know, I thought about this last night. What's different with Andy Reid's offense? Okay? What's different with Andy Reid's offense from Philly to Kansas City? I can't find anything. It's the same shit. Holmes is better than McNabb. I mean, so it's not like this guy all of a sudden is going to change. Nick changed. That's my point. Nick changed. I think that impressed the ownership group, not the fact that they went on to win the Super Bowl too. That's killing. Look, Nick is always going to be tied to his assistant coaches they put around him. If they're good or bad, get this. Nick, how many people in here think Nick has control of his own destiny? I heard Zander bring this up, but I'm going to expand on it. How many people think Nick Sirianni has control of his own destiny year to year? John McMullen said it too this morning. The winds of the NFL can change at any moment. They can change at any moment. 1 minute you look like a superstar, the next minute you look like a turd. Dude, Bill Belichick got fired. I mean, great coaches get fired all the time. Nick Sirianni doesn't have control of his own destiny. Why? Because he is, without a doubt, beholden to the assistant coaches he has in the building. Because he doesn't play call. Matt LaFleur has his own destiny in his hands. Andy Reid has his own destiny in his hands. Sean McVay has his own destiny in his hands. How well those guys coach their offense and then coach their team is going to be indicative of how they see him. If they put shitty coordinators around Nick, 23. They put great coordinators around Nick, 22 and 24. End of story. Sills, me personally, I think he's on a short leash. I don't think he's on a short leash. I don't think that. But I think they go back and forth how they feel about him. Hey, Sills, the Eagles still have to address the defense to me. It's imperative. Blaine, I know. The only way you're going to be able to do that, Blaine, is when you get into training camp. Okay? I always like that. Guy taps McVay on the shoulders and gives him a countdown in his ear of where they are on the field. I think that's essential to good coaching, is that someone's telling you time and timeouts. You get caught up in the forward progression of the game so much you lose your timing where you are in the game. How many times you see games run out because coaches, they didn't manipulate the timeout or the last minute of a game? That, I think, because the game is so high paced today, I think you have to have that type of coach in your ear all the time, letting you know where you are on the field at all times. Okay? And I think that comes from being a great play caller. Once again, I disagree with many people that say and talk shit on McVay. McVay's the most accomplished coach in the NFC. Bar none. You know why? This guy's won 4 division titles. He's won 2 NFC titles and a Super Bowl. I got it. That Nick's, and he's younger than Nick. And he's a play caller. And by the way, some people think that that's not an important cog, being a play caller. How would you like to beat Jalen Hurts and consistently lose your offensive coordinator every 2 years? Nobody's losing their coordinator in L.A. That's one coach that won't be replaced in Los Angeles, Green Bay, Kansas City. They won't be replaced. It's a fail-safe. Sills, when are you going to invite Cataldi back? Probably Monday. Yeah, so I think the ability to adapt is what really got them to look at him and say, he's the right guy for us. Just like Jalen's the right quarterback for this offense. Sills, consider this. Nick is open to change, and I think he is. Vic creates a scheme based on personnel change. Kellen was pass first, but last year he ran and he changed. Could this be Howie's staff's blueprint? You know? So you're saying because they ended up paying the linebacker, drafting a linebacker, paying the running back, signing a running back, do you think that has been a philosophical change from the front office, that they had to hire coaches who are willing to adapt? Potentially. Little Nicky and Jalen are 3-0 versus McVay. Thanks for the super. Says you're going to get Talking on the show. I will. We'll get Rick on. Thanks for the supers. Appreciate them. Even though they're irrelevant in my brain right now. But thank you for supporting us. You know I love you guys. But I'm not listening to dumb shit like that. Yeah. And you can't beat Todd Bowles. Great. Okay. Sure. Here. Go with me here. That's clearly the adjustments. Okay? The adjustments. You talk about 9-4, Dak, but don't like 3-0 against McVay. No, I think I don't care. Okay, it's 3-0 against McVay. Great. What do you want? A cookie? He don't run his team. McVay runs the team. McVay makes the hires for his assistants, not Les Snead and Kevin Demoff. What were the Rams? Let's take a look at this. I want to show you how Lamar's a dumbass and why it's irrelevant. let's take a look at this. Rams, year to year. Year-to-year record. And then we'll do the Eagles. Let's see here. Sean McVay. Prior to Sean McVay being the head football coach of the Los Angeles Rams, okay? Prior to him getting there, it shows you how stupid guys like Prince and these guys are. This is dumb. So prior to him being there, here's the record to the Rams. McVay got in 17, he became the head football coach. Prior to that, 4-12, 7-9, 6-10, 7-9, 7-8-1, 2-14, 7-9, 1-15, 2-14, 3-13, 8-8, 6-10, 8-8, 7-9. That's 15 years of shitty football. Now let's take a look after he got there. 11-5, lost in a wild card. 13-3, lost in the Super Bowl. 10-6, 10-6, lost the division. 12-5, won the Super Bowl. Had that year because they had to pay bills, 5-12. Came back last 2 years, they're 21-14. Lost in the divisional round, lost in the wild card. So you'll have to excuse me here. But since he's been in the building, the Rams have been one of the best teams in the NFC. Prior to that, it was 15 years of shit football. Now let's take a look at the Eagles and see what the Eagles look like prior to Nick getting there. What do you think? Let's go there. Eagles, year to year. Let's take a look at this. Here's Nick. It's pretty good. Nick Sirianni, 4 years. 9-8, 14-3, 11-6, 14-3. Prior to that, the horrible 4-11-1 year that Doug had. Previous to that, 9-7, 9-7, 13-3, a Super Bowl win. Prior to that, Doug's first year, 7-9, 7-9. Prior to that, 10-6, 10-6, 4-12, 10-6, 11-5, 9-6-1, 10-6, 13-3, 12-4, 12-4, 11-5, 11-5, 10-6. I mean, what are we doing here? Making it sound like the Eagles had some sort of shitty losing records. The Eagles have been great for the last 25 years, barring some 2 or 3 years inside that 25 years. You're making it sound like Nick parachuted in and changed the fortunes. Sean McVay parachuted into Rams country and changed the entire landscape of the team. There's a completely different. Sean McVay built the culture. Nick inherited it. There's a difference. Now, not upsetting that like Chip did is also a key component. I think that's one of his greatest assets. Remember something. When you saw that press release, they were glazing over the fact of how they've maintained success over the years. Okay? I mean, right? All right. Hit the like button here. Zander's going to join us, by the way, at 12:30. Hit the like button here, guys. All supers go to the top. We appreciate you guys. Again, thank you, guys. I mean, it's been great. You guys have been absolutely sensational. All right. I wrote down 10 Eagles. 10 Eagles that you could ill afford to lose. 10 Eagles. Who would be number one? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't comment on fucking stupid shit. I'm throwing the comment out and the topics out here. You don't want to go for them? Don't be here. I'm not upset in any way. Everything's great. But if I'm not going to keep hammering on a point, that's stupid. This guy wants to sit on the room here, Prince, and say that he thinks winning the Super Bowl MVP is harder to win than winning the regular season MVP when you have to play 6 months of football from start to finish to win that award. Anybody, and 20 guys have won that award that are not Hall of Famers. Almost everybody who's won the MVP award in pro football history is in Canton. I'm not debating that. And dude, I'm awake. Whatever. Sit there and whatever. You want to come at me for whatever reason? I don't know what you're talking about. Really, here, bottom line, I have no idea what you're talking about. Nor am I going to entertain it. I'm not entertaining any of this. No interest. The 10 Eagles. And where did Andy Reid get us with all those records? I'll wait. You're the only one that uses numbers to fit your narrative. No. That's how players get paid in the NFL. It's not narratives. And by the way, what did Andy Reid get you? You are where you are right now because Andy Reid set the blueprint, along with Joe Banner, on what you are now. That's where it got you. And if you don't think that, my friend, you don't know what you're talking about. Who were you before Andy Reid showed up? Let's take a look at that. Let's take a look before that. 3-13, 6-9, 10-6, 7-9. Then you had the Ryan years. 10 wins, 10 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins, 10 wins. Then prior to that, you were 7, 5, 6, 5, 3, 5, 4, 4, 4, 5, 7, 2, 6. Come on, man. Who do you think you were before Reid and all those guys showed up? Some sort of like dynamic franchise? You were the dregs of the NFL. Making it sound like you had some sort of historic history. When Andy Reid and Jeffrey Lurie parachuted in, it changed the entire fortunes of your franchise. That's right. You guys were the Jets. With 1 year, a couple years of Vermeil. From 1960 on to like 1975, you were nobodies. And when Lurie bought the team, it changed the entire landscape. Like Zander doesn't know anything about losing. Why? Because he changed the fortunes of the franchise. And the franchise has been consistent winners. And right now, the Eagles are at the top of the mountain. It's because of Andy Reid. Here, let's do something here before I get to the 10 Eagles you can't lose. Who do you think has been the most important Philadelphia Eagle in the last 26 years? Jeffrey Lurie. Who's been second? Jalen made it to 2 Super Bowls before. Fantastic. Congratulations. Tremendous. Who's second? Who is the second most important Philadelphia Eagle? Hey, get this. Jim Plunkett won 2 of them. Who's the second most important Eagle in the last 25 years? Context? I'll give you context. Jim Plunkett won 2 Super Bowls. There's your context. Hey, Who's the second most? Howie Roseman. Let's do 5. Who is the third most important Philadelphia Eagle in the last 25 years in where you are right now as a franchise? Who's third? I say Andy Reid. I would say the fourth most. Joe Banner. And who would be the fifth? Who would be the fifth in the last 25 years? Laurie, Howie, Andy Reid, Joe Banner. Who would be the fifth most important Philadelphia Eagle and your success in the last 25 years? Stoutland? Doug Peterson won your first. I know about losing watching the Rich Kotite and Ray Rhodes teams at the vet every year. Trey Detmer and them guys. It was bad as it sounded. Dude, you guys are in a great era of football right now. Jim Johnson? Now, Jim Johnson, all those defensive coaches you had. I'm not talking players. By the way, I missed Kyle's super chat, Zander. We can pull that bad puppy up. It's been a great era of football. I agree, Yale. Stoutland? Okay. All the Hall of Famers he's coaching. Doug wins your first. So here have been the most important non-players and building where you are today. Jeffrey Lurie, absolutely. He's a great owner. Howie Roseman, no question. Changed my opinion on him. He does a fabulous job running this franchise. Andy Reid set it all up with Joe Banner. And the one thing you guys didn't have prior to Jeffrey Lurie owning the team, an O-line. You know the O-line? Let me tell you something. Yale and anyone that's older in here, okay? Anyone that's older, would we not agree? If Jeff Stoutland was on the Buddy Ryan teams, the Eagles would have won 4 Super Bowls. Do you agree? If Jeff Stoutland was on those Buddy Ryan teams, they'd have won 4 Super Bowls. The defense was just too good. But what changed the dynamic? One thing you got to give that guy credit for, Jeffrey Lurie, is this. He saw the importance from Norman Brayman's failures of not having a great O-line. That has never been more of an apparent priority in that building than making sure the best O-line coaches in Philly and the best players at that position are in Philly, and they are rewarded. You are beating the pants off the Cowboys and everyone in the league because of what you think with that O-line. And that is not a stretch. Should Howie lead the team? Is Joe Douglas next? Great question. Great question, Leon. I don't know. I think the kid's got somewhere to be in this building. Is he going to be the president of the team? Are they going to hire a new GM when he leaves? I don't know what the transition is going to look like. Look, that guy's not stupid. Owner of your football team's not dumb. He's not just going to turn it over to his kid and look like, I don't know, a Genie Bus with the Lakers. Okay, that's not going to happen. So when you say all this stuff that you guys are right now and where you are right now as a franchise, these 5 men had more to do with the franchise being where they are right now than anybody that's currently on the coaching staff. Jeffrey Lurie, Howie Roseman, Andy Reid, Joe Banner, and Stoutland have all had so much significance and impact on where you are now as a franchise. Dude, the Philadelphia Eagles of 2000s and going into the 2020s, they don't resemble what they were from 1965 all the way until 1970, and then that downtime in between Andy. They don't resemble. That team, it looks like the 49ers now, back when they were winning Super Bowls. I still think they need to win more, but that's coming. It looks like it's coming. Right? Dude, that's a great take right here. And it's pre-salary cap to boot when they set it all up. And now what they're doing post with the cap, it's even harder to maintain. Absolutely. Look, I'll say it one more time. I think the hiring of Joe Douglas has been sensational. Dude, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with what did the Jets, will somebody tell me something? What did the Jets finish last year in total defense? Can somebody just give me, Kyle, give me a number where the Jets finished in total defense. Joe Douglas could pick. Woody Johnson got in his way. I heard John McMullen say he didn't have a very successful run. Here, let me ask you this. So Joe Douglas didn't have a very good run as general manager in New York. How hard do you think it is to work for Woody Johnson? You think Howie Roseman could succeed in New York? '20th, thank you, Sean. He couldn't get the quarterback. Well, do you think Howie Roseman could work for Woody Johnson? Look at this guy. They were 3rd. I knew they weren't 20th. 3rd. Thank you, Kyle. Howie Roseman could not work for Woody Johnson because he wouldn't pay the players to put the money up front. That's right, Abe. No one can. Listen to this. He thinks yes. How many years has the Jets been in existence? Show you this. This is a fact. I got accused of this being a liar the other day. Jets, year to year. How many years have the Jets been in existence? I think it's 1960. Is it 1960, the Jets? Yeah, 60. No coach in the history of the franchise has had a winning record except for Parcells. There it is. Bill Parcells is the only coach to have a winning record. Everyone else doesn't have a winning record. And then since Woody's taken over from Leon Hess, here's his records: 5-12, 7-9, 7-10, 4-13, 12-14, 7-9, 4-12, 5-11, 5-11, 4-12, 6-10, 8-8. Where are you going with an owner like that? Who gauges how he gets players off of Madden? Come on, man. Ownership matters. You can have the greatest plan on the planet, but if you don't have the right, hey, older Eagle fans in here, help me out here. Buddy Ryan was a good coach, right? How many people think Norman Brayman was a bad owner? How many people believe Norman Brayman was an awful owner? How many people believe he was? And Buddy had to work around a guy who lived in France. Right? What if Buddy had Jeffrey Lurie? Buddy probably wins the Super Bowl. Right. The owner has set this thing up. He had really great. Jeffrey Lurie's greatest asset is hiring. Can you imagine? You've only had one really bad hire since you've owned a team, and it was Chip. And he still got you Stoutland and Lane. Even as bad as he was. Seals Brayman and those were terrible owners. Yeah, Toes too. Yeah, Toes. Yeah, I know. Okay, got you. These guys were awful owners. You guys had good coaches. How Dick Vermeil won with Leonard Toes is insane. How he got to a Super Bowl with that owner is insane. I mean, look, Norman Brayman, you know what he said? Reggie's best years are behind him. Goes up to Green Bay. Reggie should have been the MVP instead of Desmond Howard in that Super Bowl, by the way. All right. That's right. Dude. This is so right. This is epic. This era of Eagle football is insane great. You were never this team. You want to hear the pecking order in the NFC East forever? Me as a kid, player, broadcaster, it was always Cowboys, Redskins, Giants, and the Eagles. You were the last team in that division. And if you want to go old school, the Cardinals were probably the worst. Because believe it or not, the St. Louis Cardinals were in the NFC East, even when they went to Arizona for a bit. I mean, and you got a GM that's trying to set you up for the next 4 years. Great things ahead. I believe it. You know why? Howie's chipping away at the 25 roster, knowing full well he's still in the game. I still believe this about the Eagles. This year, I think you've taken steps back. You haven't gotten better anywhere. Okay? And you've gotten worse. However, I don't think your worse is enough those other teams overtake you. And I think that's what they think. They went like this. We took step back. And we didn't get better on anywhere. We make it a surprise where a kid steps in like a Zach Baun this year. The Mabuka kid may absolutely be great. The Georgia linebacker you drafted may actually step in and be great. But you know what the Eagles are saying? And I completely 100% believe this. They're saying this in 2025. You know, we may have taken a step back, but we haven't taken a step back that's significant enough that those teams have caught us. And we're still in this. That's insane and great. You're retooling at the same time. Let me say this. If that football team doesn't win the Super Bowl, but they get to the Final Four and they get to a game where it's a nip and tuck game and they don't win it, but they get to the Final Four, and I'm talking the NFC Championship game, Not the Final Four in the NFC. That's divisional. And you're there. You may win 2 Super Bowls the following 5 years because of that. Like, you'll look back at 25 and go, we weathered it. We were good. Hey, the Cowboys didn't win. When they had pre-cap even, they didn't win every year. You know how many teams went? Look at the great teams in NFL history. You guys are so sold on repeat. Dude, work it in 5-year increments. Work it in 5-year increments. Very few teams repeat. I believe there's only been 9 of them. So if you work in a 5-year increment and you go to 3 Super Bowls in 5 years and you win 2 of them, I mean, what are we talking about here? Okay? By the way, you see this guy? Well, you don't repeat by gutting your defense and going, well, we still got our core left. That's not true. You got 3 players that you consider core. Baun, Carter, and Q. The rest of them, I don't know. We'll see. Hey, Cooper, 4. Okay? There's 11 guys on defense. There's 11 guys. Okay, that leads me back to my topic here. 10 Eagles. That you can't lose. Who's number 1 on that list? Who would be number 1? Barkley. Absolutely true. You can't lose Barkley. Not a chance. Okay? Number 2. Who will be, I wrote down 10 Eagles you can't or ill afford to lose in 25. By the way, if you lose Mailata or Lane, who takes over a tackle for them? Who takes over a tackle? If you lose Lane or Mailata, who do you got filling in for them? Rookies. So would we agree as of right now? And then here will be the standard Eagle response. I believe in Stoutland, and you have every right to believe that. I believe that. But remember something here. He hasn't turned Tyler Steen around. I see a lot of great takes in here. So Barkley 1. I say AJ. I don't think you can lose AJ. He's important in the run game, and he's important in the pass game. And he's important in presence. Do you think that there's any coincidence that he's been a part of 2 of the greatest running attacks in NFL history with the Titans and the Eagles? You think there's any coincidence to that? Seals Eagles are 14-23 when Johnson is not on the field. No doubt. He's a tremendous ball player. Tremendous ball player. Dude, but A.J. Brown is so instrumental. Hey, right. Here's Zander. Got to be some coincidence. Saquon and Derek. I mean, dude, you got that guy blocking downfield. And by the way, like I said, you got 3 different guys that have been Pro Bowl backs with 3 different names on the back of the jersey. It's absolutely insane. I'll tell you this, a passing game looked a whole lot different when Brown was put in there. Boy, I'll tell you, if you're the Titans, you want to hear something that's really awesome what the Eagles did? So the Saints didn't know what Gardner Johnson was. The Saints didn't know what Zach Baun was. The Giants didn't know what Barkley was. And the Titans didn't know what AJ was. But the Eagles did. There's no coincidence to that either. Right? There is no coincidence to that. Think about that. AJ never put up big numbers in Tennessee. He wasn't that guy. Yet they offered him less money. I mean, they offered him $6 million less than Howie signed him for. Howie gave him that deal. I mean, think about it, Charlie. Think about it. So the Eagles get him from Tennessee. I don't know, 900 yards, 1,100 yards, 63 catches. Who's that guy? He looked like Hunter Renfrow. 1,500 yards, 1,400 yards. You're like, what? Blowing people up? Tell you this, do we agree? If A.J. Brown stays in Tennessee, he's a lost dude. They go out and find Zach Baun. I don't know. First team All-Pro? Unheard of. A special teams guy, first year starting All-Pro. The Saints had him for 4 years, and they didn't know what he was. Okay, so AJ and Baun. All right. Mekhi Becton was a bum with the Jets. A bum. Put him at right guard. He's a Pro Bowler. What? Gardner Johnson was a corner in New Orleans. They're going to put you at safety. What? Why is Reddick not good? Or been on 3 different teams, 3 different years? Guy has 30 sacks in 2 years. Goes to the Jets. He's a turd again. The thinking and having, that's not a coincidence. That's brilliant player evaluating. I see this guy being this. Now you're going to miss on how about this? How about this? So you miss on Huff. You didn't miss on Baun. You didn't miss on Becton. You knew Barkley was better. That good? Yeah. Boy, I'll tell you, if I ever make a trade with Howie Roseman, and I'm a team around the National Football League, and they're eyeballing a guy on my team, there's a reason. They think something of him, and they think something other than what we're thinking of him. I would go to my scouts and go, what are we missing? Why does that guy want that guy? What are we not seeing that he's seeing? I would pick, see, you guys are wrong. I'd pick the phone up every time Philly called me. I'd go like this. What player do you like on my roster? I like this player. He might be a 3rd-team safety. I'd be like, you think they're thinking about moving DeJean over to the corner, putting this guy in the slot? Or what do you think they're thinking? What are we missing that they're seeing that they want to make a trade for a third-round pick. What am I seeing here? Or what am I not? Not pick the phone up? Why would I not pick it up? I want to know what you think is, bro, I want to know what you think of my 53-man roster. And if you're calling me, there must be a value in there for the Eagles somewhere for them to make a trade, that there's some value on my 53-man roster. I go to my owner and go, I just got a call from Roseman. They want this guy. That makes me look good to my owner that Howie Roseman called and wanted one of the players that my team evaluated. So when you hear people say no one's picking the phone up, Howie Roseman enhances your roster every time he picks the phone up and calls your team. Be a lot different than some stiff from Carolina calling. Oh, here. I got Jordan Mailata third. I'll do this exercise here with Zander here. Look, one of the reasons that I believe Nick got that extension, even though they're not releasing the numbers, for whatever reason, that'll come out. And you'll get a sense of what they think of themselves. If they pay what John McMullen said they should, and by the way, I want to put an asterisk on it. John didn't say they're going to pay him. John said they should, but they won't. Because I think there is something he brought up that was a great point. Owners don't want those salaries going up. Here's why. The salaries in college football right now, I'm going to show you this. Highest paid, they're trying to keep a cap on them. Highest paid college football head coaches. I'm going to show you something here. This is last year. Let's just use last year. Kirby Smart makes $14 million. Nick Sirianni may make $2 million more. And he had the greatest run in the history of the National Football League. Fourth all time? You're going to make only $2 million more? I think RC3, I think Kirby got bumped up too this offseason. There's a guy making like $16 million. Nick may not make more than him. Here's another one. Dabo Swinney makes 11-1. Here. Sarkisian hasn't won a national title. Makes 10. Lincoln Riley, 10. Ryan Day, 10. Norville, FSU, 10. DeBoer at Alabama, 10. Kelly, LSU, 10. Let me go down here to the bottom of it. Watch this. On what Nick's making right now. The head football coach at Minnesota makes the same money that Nick Sirianni makes right now. The salaries in college football have gone through the roof. PJ Fleck makes the same money at Minnesota. I don't even know what he's done there. He makes the same money Sirianni makes right now. Well, new contract extension here, whatever that number is. NFL owners don't want that. John's right. They're going to keep a lid on that. I don't want that blowing up. You mean to tell me you're going to pay? Watch this. You mean to tell me I'm going to pay that guy $20 million and I'm going to pay him as much as Landon Dickerson? NFL guys don't want that shit. All right. So I gotta hang up for a second. I gotta get myself ready. Because, keeping it real. What's the thing he says? What's the line he says? It is what it is. It the same thing. What's the line from His Highness? Got to keep the real thing. It's not relevant to the conversation. Why I didn't go to the White House. Don't be and all that. I don't know. And I just now I don't want to know what it is. Wait, what? I was saying to keep the real thing. How you doing? Real thing. Hey, John McMahon. There you go, Stevie. There you go. Hey, real thing. How you doing? Real thing. See, even Stevie's pissed off. Go get him, Steve. Son of a. How you doing there? That's my guard dog. He's this big, but this wide. How you doing? That's my boy. I love you, baby. All right. Without further ado, keeping the main thing. We bring in the co-host of Birds 365, our dear friend, Big Zander Krause. How you doing, brother?
What's up, Big Sills? How you living, brother?
I'm living good. I'm keeping the real thing.
I know you are, man. You're doing a good job of keeping that real thing. Listen, good to hear the players speak today. All right. Yeah. I miss football, Sileo. I'm watching these guys come out. I'm like, wait a second. There's AJ. There's Mailata, Jalen, Nick. I'm like, man, I miss football. But, yeah, good day. Good to be able to get him at least back out there.
I love Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, he's awesome, man. Mailata's really, really dope. Really real,
Don't you think he's the leader of that team?
I think he's got a leadership role. I think he's absolutely got a leadership role for sure. He's one of the vocal guys. I think he's grown into that more. Remember how he started, Tough to lead when you can't strap up a helmet, right? But when you're the best
know how to put shoulder
football,
pads on, yeah, that'd probably be difficult.
Right. Yeah. Now he's a good dude though. I'm a Jordan Mailata fan. He just comes off as genuine and relatable. Like he's just another regular dude who got really good at football. It's like one of us. So yeah, I like Mailata. I
even liked AJ. I thought AJ took it out of my good.
Man. AJ was great today.
Yeah.
AJ was great today. AJ was great he did a podcast not too long ago. He was great on there. He was good in the press conference today. I thought his answers to everything were good. Yeah. I like AJ Brown, man. I think AJ Brown is a cool dude. Like I would like AJ Brown outside of the game of football. If I just met him on the street or something, I think I'd like him. He seems like a genuine good dude.
I think I would too. I think you know what? There's a lot of Michael Irvin in him. And you see it, but he's not quite, he's funny, and he's calculated and smart. I tell you this, he's a smart guy. He knows where he is. He knows the room. He knows the kind of answers. He said something really cool. He goes, because somebody asked him, he goes, hey, you still want to go to the Olympics? He goes, that's during training camp. He goes, that means all you guys would be giving me shit if I show up at the Olympics while I'm not in training camp. So that ain't happening.
Wait a second. I kind of had a similar takeaway from Jalen. I love Jalen, but it does at times you're just like, all right, can you speak a little more normal to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he's not like that. I'm not gonna try and change who he is. But then I saw some clips on Twitter, Sills, of Joe Burrow. Oh my God. I talk about prima donna.
Oh, he's
Joe Burrow's I got to go fourth year, a primetime game in Baltimore. We should have an international game. I'm like, Joe, shut up. You won 8 games last year, Joe. Shut up. I don't care how many passing yards you had. So,
And you're in Cincinnati. Hey, and you're in Cincinnati. Relax. Nobody's
Right.
looking to see the Bengals
I thought that immediately. I'm like, hey man, you don't have an international game because if you don't win every year, you're never going to be relevant.
Bro, you're in Cincinnati, Ohio. Now anybody's really dying to buy tickets to see Bengal games.
Yeah, really.
I don't care who they have on that.
Now, he's a good player though. He's a good player, but still, he was whining a little bit today.
How about this? Who do you believe is going to be right? Big Sills at 16-5 or John McMullen?
Ooh, you came up. You came up from 15.
I did. I think they got to pay him more than 15. So I'm going to go 16-5 because I think they got to pay him more than Tomlin too. So 16-5 and to put an asterisk on it, John did say, I don't believe they're paying him, but they should. So I want to put that in context there. 21 million. Where do you think he's going to land?
Option C, and that's me, and it's 19 million.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Second highest paid coach.
Yep.
No way.
They're going to say, listen, Andy's been around too much. He's a Hall of Fame coach. He's earned the 20. I'll give you a high number. I'll give you more than Sean Payton, but we're not going to break Andy. And I think that's where the other stuff comes in if they don't want to make the coaching salaries too crazy. So you put him right at 19. You know, you're above Sean Payton. You're above Mike Tomlin. You're above all these other dudes that you're, by the way, better than, more successful than, better than him, and more accolades on your resume in just 4 years. And you're in a good spot. I think that's what Nick is getting. I don't think you're right, and I don't think John's right either at 21 million. So 19.
This is an agita.
Take it to the bank.
This is an agita. This is agita right here at its finest here.
No, it's not. Here. Agita is you coming up $1.5 million after I took you to the cleaners yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
On Winnie.
Everybody is now. Yeah, okay. Here.
Dude, Winnie, even you can't escape Winnie.
Hold on.
Such a winner.
So let me ask you something. So when Jeffrey Lurie asks for a direction of a team or the team, or he's looking for advice on something, who do you think he values the opinion of more, Howie or Nick?
Jeffrey Lurie?
Yeah.
Well, it depends. Is he talking football or is he talking business?
Well, if he's talking business, I'm not talking to Nick or Howie.
Me neither. If you're talking personnel, you're talking to Howie. If you're talking football, you're talking to Nick Sirianni.
Well, how is
second highest paid coach in the league?
How is he talking to Nick Sirianni when he almost fired him last year?
It's a good question. It's a good question. How fast things change.
Do you think Howie's ever been? Wait, Howie was fired. Demoted.
Fired is different. I do like to think that the easier move in that situation would have been to fire Howie. So Jeffrey did want to keep him around for something.
You know, that thing just looks like a brilliant move now, doesn't it? Just not letting.
Well, I'm not giving him credit because I think he lucked into it by how bad Chip Kelly was and how much it fractured his view on giving up control, that it allowed him to, work Howie back into the mix. And by the way, this is another thing that people get wrong about the tenure. A lot of the mistakes that Howie Roseman made between 16 and 20, which were quite a bit of them. You remember Jalen Reagor, obviously the over and over missed draft picks that we had. A lot of those were Doug. Okay. Jalen Reagor was a Doug Peterson pick. Doug Peterson and the coaching staff said they wanted Jalen Reagor. Howie gave him that. And then Howie, over and over again, still to this day, has fallen on the sword for that. Howie takes the flack for that.
Is Jalen Hurts a Joe Douglas sign? Was Joe in charge of personnel in 20?
That's potential.
Was Joe Douglas head of personnel in 2020?
Nah, he became the Jets GM in 2019. So that's probably the year before Hurts was drafted.
So that's Howie's guy. Okay. So the last year was 19. That's when Joe was, or 18, right? 18 was the last year. Right. I think that's a great hire, dude.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, I think it's a good thing. I do wonder is Is there at all a power struggle there? I don't think so, because, Joe doesn't have any sort of power in that room anymore, but I do wonder if you get some guys, that differ on team building. But I overall, I think it's a great thing. I mean, if you have different people who are all well-rounded and they all put in their opinion into a pot, I think you're going to improve your chances at getting to the right decision if you have valuable opinions, pushing the right ones to the top. So you don't create an echo chamber. I think it's a good. I think it's a good hire too.
Guys, do me a favor. Supers will read at the end, and also don't forget, please hit the like button here.
I actually don't think Joe Douglas did too bad in New York. Now, he couldn't get the quarterback right, so that'll kill any GM's
that could
chances.
be the owner. That could be the owner.
Exactly. That's my next point. Is like, look at the owner. I mean, he did draft some really good players. All right, he did draft, and the other thing that he did was he said, "I'm not going to pay Bryce." I'll undrafted free agent him, but I will not be paying him. He might be joking with Howie about that, man. You could have called me. I would have told you not to pay that dude.
Right. No doubt, man. But then Howie could turn around and go, hey, thanks for the 3rd round pick on Reddick.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Hey, you know what? I hear you, and not just you, Zander, but I hear a lot of people going, hey, I wonder if anybody's a little bit upset if Howie Roseman calls your franchise and wants to talk about a player that's on your 53-man roster. Zander, I would pick that phone call up in a second nowadays, because I want to know who you're identifying. Because let me finish this point here. Here's a guy that looked at A.J. Brown and went like this, 63 catches. I mean, dude, they were They were okay pedestrian numbers in Tennessee. He comes to Philadelphia. This guy turns out to be one of the top 3 guys. Here, you do this again. You call up and you have a guy on your roster for 4 years, and Zach Baun. I want this guy Baun. You get this guy Baun, turns out to be first-team All-Pro. Now we're starting to get into the room of that can't be a coincidence. Then you turn around and you make a trade for Darius Slay, who couldn't be a man cover corner to save his life. Well, that's not what we're going to bring him here for. We're going to put him in a zone. Turns out to be All-Pro every year he's here. You may miss on Bryce Huff. What I'm saying is that their vision, look at what they did with Becton. He sucked in New York. He was a complete disaster. Put him in right guard. He's a Pro Bowler. I don't know about you, man, but I mean, shit, that can't just be coincidence. That's got to be insight. And that's got to have like the Jahad Campbell draft. They see what they want that player to be. Now, whether or not that player fulfills the destiny of what they see and how they see him, that's up to the kid. But what they see is this. It's a pretty good thinking forward mentality that they have on when they're looking at a respected player. And I think that's one of the reasons that they have patience with players, is because they know there's going to be a transition on what they see. Remember something, Zach Baun was a special teams guy. He wasn't a starting everyday linebacker. And this guy evolved into being the first-team All-Pro guy. That can't be coincidence, dude.
No, it's not.
Look at Barkley. Barkley was a failure in New York. Well, because the Giants were a failure.
Now, how much do you put of that on player evaluation versus player development? Because, you don't draft a good player. Obviously, you know that, you got to develop a player. You got to put him in a position to succeed. So they have a good developmental program here in Philly, where most players are developing very well. But I do think you're right, where, same thing with Jalen Hurts, by the way. Right? I mean, you drafted that guy out of college. Nobody was predicting he was going to be a starting quarterback. People thought taking him 54 overall, or wherever it was, 56 overall, was an egregious reach. Now you might not. Now Jalen Hurts might not be in somebody's top 5 quarterbacks, and that's all fine and dandy. But I guarantee you, if he got redrafted, he wouldn't fall in the 50s. No, all right, that's a top 5 draft pick in that draft, probably top 10 pick. So they've done a very good job at that. There's no doubt. Listen, they do have a big staff, man, and I've heard things of sometimes people who are on that staff get a little upset because they feel as though Howie gets so much credit. Now, listen, that's life. Those people are going to have to deal with it because Howie's the head of the snake. But they have a great staff, man, a great staff. They have a deep staff. They have one of the biggest front offices in the NFL in terms of just sheer number of people. populated in that front office. So they do a really good job. And I think it's kind of goes to the point I made earlier about you get enough good opinions in the room, when you put them all in a pot, the best ones are going to come to the top. The best ones are going to float. So I think that's what they're doing. And so far it works. For the most part, it works very well. And their hit rate is really good in the last couple of years.
That's why I'm going to eat a Bryce Huff move when there's 4 other ones that were grand slams. I mean, look, Bryce Huff may have been a failure. Tell you, Mekhi Becton, Barkley, and Baun weren't failures.
Yeah.
You don't win the Super Bowl without those 3.
No, you're
and you
right.
won the Super Bowl in light of Huff.
And Sills, can you live with that, right? Like,
Yes.
every year your GM
Absolutely.
is you're not shooting 100% from the field. The greatest teams in the history of NFL don't hit like that. So you're right. I mean, look, the Bryce Huff one hurts because I think you're out an edge right now. We're out 2 edge rushers. So if that guy did pan out, we wouldn't be in the situation we're in right now. So I think that one keeps coming up. But, you don't hear us complaining about linebacker because Baun worked. You don't hear us complaining about, any of the other positions because they've all worked out. So,
would you agree? Would you agree if Huff had worked out, Jahad Campbell's not drafted?
I don't know. Do we win the Super Bowl still?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then I think Campbell would still be drafted because, if all things were the same in the draft and he fell.
It would be Huff and Nolan Smith. Where's he playing?
Well, then they would use him in that Joker role. Probably be the end for Nakobe Dean. They'd start him at more off ball with that type of role. And, Huff would still probably, whether he panned out or not, might have been gone after this upcoming season anyway. That was a 3-year deal, but they're all structured to be out after 2 years.
So you're saying then that they would have drafted, the mentality would have been to replace Dean with him.
I think the mentality would have been to get that player. All right. I think the mentality this year was a lot less about positions, and they had certain guys that they thought were first-round picks. And the minute Jahad Campbell started to fall, they identified that's the last guy that we would make a move up for. If we can't make a move up for him, I don't know if they would have made a move up at all, or maybe they would have even dropped back a little bit. So again, I'm assuming, but I think with how aggressive they were, you heard the rumblings that they wanted to move up to 22 or 23 for the player. They clearly liked the player, man. They thought he was a first-round grade, and we'll see if they're right. I happen to think they will be, but I'm just a little concerned. Not concerned, but that's not the right word. But I'm curious to see how the injuries pan out because listen, I'm a fan. You draft a guy first overall, or first pick, your first overall pick in the draft at 31, and you're like, geez, 2 knees, 2 shoulders. You're like, all right, let's see how this guy can pan out in the NFL. It's a different ball game, but I think Jahad Campbell's going to be great.
Do you agree with this comment? One thing His Highness Hertz said today that I loved. He was
Listen,
right.
I could rip him for it, but still, as I told you yesterday, I was parading on Broad Street a couple months ago because of him. So I'm gonna let him be your highness for an off season. All right.
Kiss the ring. There you go. Hey, I'll tell you one thing I did like. He said this: every year we've been here has been different.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it's going to look like as of right now. Everything evolves, and I've got to be willing to evolve. I think he's the only quarterback in the National Football League that has that mentality. You're not going to tell Josh. Now, when Josh Allen did evolve a little, they fired Ken Dorsey. They told him not to throw the ball. 18 months later, it's the season's MVP.
Right.
I mean, anytime that you're asking one of those elite guys, like Joe Burrow or any of these other guys, to change something, I mean, that's a big ask. Hurts is more... He's like the head coach in a way. He's adjustable.
Well, the thing I really like about him is
Don't you think that's a huge asset to have him like that?
Well, it works with the kind of head coach he has right now, too, right? With Nick Sirianni. Remember how we used to say, like, normally the head coach is the mature one or the stoic one, and the quarterback's the one who has some emotions. Jalen's kind of that steady ship, more so. And Nick has been the guy who has more of the emotional highs and lows, which, you can criticize it all you want, but at the end of the day, it's worked pretty well here for these two. So they've seemed to have found the formula. I do agree 100% on Jalen Hurts. He definitely has it's just a different, I don't want to use the word aura because that word is so overused, but it's kind of a different feeling in the locker room with a guy like him in that regard. I think you're right on it for sure. I do think there could be some downsides to that if you were with a different coach, right? Like, I don't know how he would have worked with a different type of coach, but him and Nick are really a good match so far here in Philly. And that's worked out well because I do think Nick is willing to take a back seat, Sills, to anybody, whether that's Howie, whether it's Jalen, whether it's, whoever it is. He really is a player's coach or a people's coach, and kind of takes the blame for a lot.
I'm going to disagree with you here a little bit. You think Lincoln Riley and Nick Saban and Nick Sirianni are three different type of style of coaches?
I'd say they're way different styles, yeah. So Jalen worked with all of them, but different phases of his career. When you're a freshman in Alabama, all right, you come in with a different mindset than when you're an MVP Super Bowl champion. All right, you're a made man, right? Jalen Hurts is a made man.
I'm looking at a guy who won all the national titles. I'm like, whatever you need, coach.
Yeah, no, but to your point, it would push back on the idea that he wouldn't be able to work with everybody. Maybe this is just because he has Nick. This is who he's grown into because of that, right? If he had a different head coach, maybe the progression would have been a little bit different with him. But no, it's a good point by you. I do think, though, it's a much different time in his career. But he's always been a sponge. He's always been a teachable guy. He's always said, even in one of his more recent interviews, like he wants to be coached. He wants to be told what he's doing wrong, even if he doesn't maybe doesn't subscribe to it or doesn't feel like it's something he needs to work on. I think he takes the hard coaching well. At least that's what he says he does. So, and that's proven by Nick Saban, right?
Oh, absolutely. But I think the way that he talked today, Zander, when he said that every year I've been the starter here, it's been different. Well, I started thinking, what's been different in his life and his career? Every coach he's ever had. I mean, Lincoln Riley doesn't coach anything like Nick Sirianni or anything like Saban. Saban is nothing like Sirianni, but in a way they're emotional. There's emotional, and I don't think Nick is that hard pressing as Nick Saban is. I think Nick Sirianni's more.
Yeah, but I do think there's more similarities there, as you just alluded to. Than
there is some similarities.
Yeah, Nick Saban was not.
Guys are emotional.
Nick Saban was not. All right, for those who follow Nick Saban's career, he was not an emotionally steady guy, in game, out of game, ever. I mean, he blew up in press conferences with the media.
53-14 lead. 53-14 lead. He's blowing up on players.
And he's throwing his headset down and everything like that. So, it's a different type of emotion with Nick versus or Saban versus Sirianni, but it's definitely still there. Maybe that's another good point by you, Maybe they are a little bit more similar than you would think, and Jalen's handled that well.
Absolutely here. I want to ask you, and I'm going to do this with you here. I was going to go through it myself, but I'm going to do it with you. 10 Eagles you can't lose. 25 for you to be successful. Who would you put number one?
Number one for
I
top.
Said Barkley.
People aren't going to like my answer here, but I'm going to go with the quarterback Sills. And this is more about the position, I believe, than anybody. And I know we are Philadelphia. We won our first Super Bowl with the backup quarterback. But I've said this has been a theme of recently my segments on here and on Birds 365. I don't just believe just because you have talent around somebody or you have a good roster that you can just plug anybody in. I believe that about Nick Sirianni, and I believe that about Jalen Hurts. If we don't have Jalen Hurts as our quarterback, we're not winning 55 games in the last couple of years. We're not winning the Super Bowl last year. There's just no way. Now, you can criticize and say, I want more passing yards, or I want to be better at this, or whatever the case may be. We're not going anywhere if we step out there with Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKay. I truly believe that. Well, in a very small sample size. Jalen Hurts has never missed more than 2 games at a time.
Okay. But you have won a Super Bowl without a starter. Well,
that was a different team with a different coach and a different build. But, I hear you.
I mean,
how often does that happen in NFL history? That's more the exception than the rule.
I've only seen that 2 times. Earl Morrall took over back in the 70s for Greasy. Oh, actually, Hostetler did it too with Sims. But again, like you said, that was like after game 10 with Hostetler. That was after the beginning of the year. So Morrall had been a former MVP himself. He took over in the 70s. And what did Nick have? What was it like? What are you guys like 11-2 when Foles took over? Was that right? Like 11-2, something like that.
Either 11-2 or even a little more. I think it was week 13 versus the Rams. It was week 13 versus the Rams. I think that he got.
To your point, That doesn't happen a lot, okay?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, no, it doesn't happen a lot. But no, I believe that. Like, again, and I'm not here to argue about somebody's quarterback rankings or who they. If Jalen Hurts is off this team, I don't think we have a chance in hell at going to a Super Bowl. And by the way, we've been to 2 in the last 3 years. I don't think we would have been to 2 in the last 3 years without that quarterback. So I'm going to take him as my number 1.
I got A.J. Brown number 2. I don't think there's any coincidence that this guy blocked for 2 of the greatest backs. And really, every time he's been on the field, has he not had and helped a Pro Bowl running back? Whether it's been Miles Sanders, DeAndre Swift. Look at those 2 guys when they go somewhere else. Swift was down a year ago in Chicago. We'll see what Ben Johnson does with him this year. Again, I think they need a little bit more help there. But this guy's he's blocked for Henry and Barkley now. I mean, and plus he puts up enormous numbers. Bro, I don't think there's any coincidence to that on how important he is to that offense, man. Yeah. I mean, the running game, his presence alone. I got AJ.
And look, we did go to a Super Bowl with AJ Brown and not have Saquon Barkley. So, I'm not trying to diminish what Saquon is, but we struggle without AJ Brown. I'm a little torn on going AJ Brown here. I agree with you. Going Lane Johnson. All right, Jalen Hurts is weak side and one of the best offensive linemen we've had in Philly, and who's been just an absolute beast in Jalen Hurts' tenure. Or one of the defensive guys in Jalen Carter and Zach Baun, because I firmly believe this. If you don't have the number 1 defense overall last year, I don't believe that team wins the Super Bowl.
Jalen said that today.
Jalen said how important a defense is.
He said defense wins titles.
I can sit here and name, all right, Jalen, Saquon, AJ, Lane, and Mailata. There's 5. But that would be neglecting the defense and acting like, okay, this offense is good enough. No team is good. Look at the Bengals. He threw for 5,000 yards last year and 60 freaking touchdowns. What did it get him? 8 wins. All right, You need a good defense. So with number 2, I'd probably go Jalen Carter. Because if you can't get any pressure on the defensive line, or our defense is built around what he does. So if he's not there, I don't think Baun can do what Baun does. I don't think the corners can be as good in coverage because they're going to, the quarterback's going to have more time with the ball. So I'm going to go Jalen Carter too. It's a tough one because there's a couple there on defense you could pick. Maybe one of the corners, maybe even Zach Baun, but I'm going Carter there at number 2. And then I'll give you my next ones coming up.
I'll go Jalen Hurts at number 3. And I do think you can't go too low. Quarterback has to be in the conversation because if you don't have a signal caller and he's like a jockey, the quarterback, okay? And you don't bet on the horse, you bet on the jockey because the jockey will take you to the finish line.
Right.
Okay? That's a John Morgan line. And you've got to have the jockey. And the way that he adapts the last 4 years, I think that's an important role that he has on that team because without him in that huddle, Barkley no way has $2,000. There's just no way he has $2,000. By the way, real quick, before I get your third one, I thought it was one of the greatest misses by Mailata. He goes, how many right guards has Lane Johnson played next to in his career?
Dude, I don't know. A lot.
And he's never had
a drop some stability. Why am I blank? Sayamalu was there for a couple years, at least a few years for him.
You've had 3. You had Becton, Cam, and Sayamalu the last 3 years. That's just the last 3 years.
Yeah, right. There's been a lot. There's been a lot for sure. There's been a lot.
Never dropped off in his abilities. Man, I mean, what did Mailata say? That Landon and him have 1,000 reps together on that left side. It's truly amazing on how great Lane Johnson has been. And I'll remember that, what he said. What do you got for number 3? 10 Eagles that you can't live without to have a successful 2025.
All right, I'm going to go 3 and 4 here because I view them as 3A and 3B, but for the sake of the exercise, I'm not going to do that. But for number 3, I'm going Saquon Barkley. All right, this team thrived offensively last year by handing him the rock. He allowed the Eagles to dominate the time of the clock, the time of possession. all these different. He gave you almost all of your explosive plays, not all of them, but most of your explosive plays last year on offense. He get 7 runs for 60+ yards. If this team views the formula they used last year as the formula they want to pursue this year to try and get to the promised land again, you must have Saquon Barkley. So I'm going to go Saquon Barkley 3, and then what would be 3B, but I'll put him here at 4, is A.J. Brown, because the team can't win without the guy, for crying out loud. Whether you run or you pass, it feels like we need A.J. Brown on the field. And the other thing I would put him at 4 for this year specifically is we are coming off a historic run season. So I'm expecting defenses to do their very best to replicate what Spagnuolo did. Now, that doesn't mean they're all going to be successful and they're going to stop Saquon Barkley. But I do believe there's going to be more instances this year where Jalen and AJ and Devontae, but for the sake of, saying AJ Brown, Jalen and AJ are going to have to get a bulk of the yards, get a bulk of the offense. And I think they're going to be ready to do that. And AJ Brown is certainly capable of doing that for his skill set. I think he's one of the best receivers in football. So I'm going to put him there at 4.
Okay, I'm going to ask your opinion, and I'm going to take what you say on this. Between Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, Lane is the front side tackle, and Jordan is his flank, his blind side. What tackle do you think is more important in the ability for this team to win, Mailata or Lane? Because I think that's, for me, number 4.
Yeah.
Who would you take? Who could you
Lane.
live without?
Yeah.
And by the way, for the record, before you answer, Mailata was ranked the number 1 ranked left tackle by PFF last year in pro football.
See, this is a very hard exercise to do because if you could clump the O-line together, obviously you'd clump them together and you'd put them at 1 or 2. But we can't, and we have to pick out individuals. I'm leaning Lane. I'm leaning Lane because, this offensive line was good before Jordan Mailata got here, and it's been good, since he got here. Now, the left tackle is a more valuable position than the right tackle. But with Jalen Hurts, remember, Jalen Hurts is a roll to the right kind of guy, right? He runs a lot of plays over that way. So I'm going to go Lane Johnson here because he's the glue, in my opinion, that holds the thing together. Listen, Sills, ready? Say Malu left, offensive line stays good. Now, I know there's other moving parts. Jason Kelsey hangs him up. Offensive line still good. Brandon Brooks moves on and Landon Dickerson comes into the fold, or whoever you had before Landon, but after Brooks. But, offensive line still good. The one remaining piece, the one domino who's never changed is Lane Johnson. Now, that doesn't mean he's more valuable than Mailata, but that's the reasoning I'm using for taking him over Mailata in this instance.
How about this, though? Would you not agree that Lane has the harder job because he's got the newer face every year?
Yeah, well, and I think he's more equipped to handle that. But you're right. But overall, right, left tackle is a little bit of a harder position because it's quarterback blind, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, I get that. But, yeah, Lane, I'm going to go Lane here, just maybe just because I love Lane. I don't know.
Okay, so I'm going to go number 5. I'm going to go Mailata. Who do you got at 5? You got Hurts, Barkley. No, excuse me.
Hurts, no, I got Hurts, Carter. Yeah.
Hurts, Carter, Barkley, AJ. Who do you have at 5?
Yeah, I mean, if I could put the O-line together, obviously, like I just said, they'd be way higher up. But because I'm going here off individuals, it's hard for me to pick Lane or Mailata, and I might go Zach Baun here because I want that defense to remain as a top contending defense. And if you don't have, Zach Baun in there, I don't think that defense can be that. So I might go Zach Baun 5 and then lift out the freaking offensive lineman after that.
Okay, here's 6 for me. It's Carter, and I'll tell you why. Over Baun. Baun's nowhere to be seen on the planet if Carter's not as dominant as he is up front.
Well, remember, I had Carter too.
Yeah, I got it.
Right. Yeah.
I got it. I don't think Baun's anybody if Carter is not as dominant. Because if he's getting blown up on the line of scrimmage, and that line of scrimmage is in the lap of the linebackers, you're 5 yards down the field. You have no impact whatsoever.
Right.
That defensive front 4 especially the interior D tackles, are not playing great football, Dean and Baun are getting run over. It's just it's math, and you're just getting run over. I think that guy was the centerpiece in the heart of your defense, and I got Carter at 6. I think Carter.
I like it.
I mean,
I like it. I like your list right now. Your list makes a lot of sense right now. Your top 6 so far. For 6 for me, this is where I might begin a run on offensive lineman. Give me Lane Johnson here at number 6 for me. If it was a perfect world and I could put the O-line together, these guys would be way up higher. But because it's individual, I have those other 5 before them. And I'm going to go Lane Johnson here, 6, Big Sills.
Here's what this may shock you. Name me a successful football team last year that did not have a dominant center. Baltimore has one. Kansas City has one. Detroit has one.
This is a good point. Who was Washington center last year?
I don't know, but he finished as an alternate.
It's not that Biadiz, is it? However you say
yeah,
that.
the kid I think the guy from the Cowboys. The Cowboys lost that guy and put that guy BB in there, and he stunk. Okay?
Cooper Beebe, but who's the guy that was playing the Commander center last year?
I forget. Buffalo has he's in Buffalo? Gee, look at that. The Buffalo Bills. Is he in Buffalo?
Yeah, last year it was Tyler Beatish or something, or Biabasz or something. I don't know how to pronounce that.
The guy from the Cowboys. Okay, that guy, that was a huge loss for them. So get this. Name me a football team that doesn't have a great center.
It's a good point by you.
If you don't have that guy in the middle, setting the protections with your quarterback, odd and even, understanding, I got to tell you, you tell me, is it me? Or did the run game look better with Cam Jurgens versus a year previous with Jason Kelsey, who's going to Canton?
Yeah, well, on the same breath of you explaining why you're going center, and I very much can see your logic, the last thing you said is why I'm not going to put Cam Jurgens here for me, because you went from one center to the next and still were dominant.
Oh, you're going – I see. So you go from Favre to Rodgers – hey, the quarterback.
Well, no, that's not the point, though. I mean, the point would be, if it was so irreplaceable. I don't know. Well, maybe it is a credit to Jason Kelsey, but to Cam Jurgens. But nah. So you're taking Cam at 7?
I think you have to have a dominant center to be able to be a great
I like it. I like the logic you brought to the table, and you brought the proof that most good teams have a good center. I think you're right about that. It's interesting. All right. Number 7 for me, I'm going Jordan Mailata. All right. So run on offensive lineman. I told you guys I went Lane Johnson 6. Number 7, I'm going Jordan Mailata. Let's be real. This is not the Philadelphia Eagles without that dominant offensive line. And that offensive line is not the Philadelphia Eagles O-line without those 2 tackles. So I got Lane 6, Mailata 7. And you know what? You could switch them around. You can go 6A, 6B, whatever you want to do. Give me those 2 guys there, though.
At number 8, this may shock you. I'm going Cooper DeJean.
He's in my top 10.
Dude, that guy was a freaking tone setting. When he got put into that defense, it was a complete facelift. It was like, dude, I know what Q did, but when he was in there, I'm watching teacups of Derrick Henry. I'm watching interceptions. I'm watching hits. I'm watching interceptions in the Super Bowl. I'm watching an energy, a youthful energy. I don't know.
I'm with you.
A tone setter. So I'm going Cooper DeJean at number 8.
I like that. I got no issues with Cooper DeJean at number 8. Not at all. Number 8 for me. Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah.
All right. So I went offensive line. I could triple dip here and go into the Landon Dickerson, but which I think is what I'm going to do. I'm doing this on my head, everybody. So just give me. I went 1 Jalen Hurts, 2 Jalen Carter, 3
Barkley,
3 was Barkley, 4 was AJ, 5 was Baun, 5 Lane and Mailata 6 and 7.
Right.
So number 8 here, I'm a little torn between Dickerson DeJean, and either Smitty or Goddard. Like, I think only one of them can make this top 10, but you can make an argument Smitty wouldn't make it based on importance to the team, but he obviously does give you a different caliber. Give me Landon Dickerson here. I think, his violence, as the word he uses in the running game, that works with this team so well. We're a run-based team. Our offensive line are not just good at blocking. They're good at bullying people, and there's nobody better on that O-line, including the 2 tackles, better at bullying dudes with violence than Landon Dickerson. So I think what Landon does, Sills, is he sets the tempo on that offensive line. He might not be the best player on that offensive line, but I think he brings the mentality to that offensive line of, I'm going to run you the F over. I think that comes from Landon Dickerson. And if you don't have that, I don't think that offensive line is the same level of dominance. So I'm going Landon here.
At 9, I've got Zach Baun. I think what Baun brought last year, the ability to cover, blitz, sideline to sideline. Was it me? But every single time I saw a pile of Eagle defenders, his helmet and lid was in it. I don't ever remember a play last year where he wasn't involved in a play. How many big-time interceptions or defended passes or broken up passes or big hits on the line? Like the plays that he made where he stopped first downs. And I saw so many enormous open field You know what shocked me the most about him? His open field tackling skill set. I mean, to be able to tackle these elite athletes like that in open space and the way the game is played in space was remarkable.
And still, especially with not that much experience prior.
I don't get it. I can't believe
it was incredible.
I've never seen a guy parachute in out of nowhere. It looked like he'd been playing the position forever.
Yeah,
incredible. I got him at 9.
It's a good pick at 9. Number 9 here, I'm going to go Cooper DeJean. All right, so one spot behind where you had him. This guy came in week 5 or whatever it was after the bye week and just absolutely changed the defense. I never thought a slot cornerback could be as valuable, as Cooper DeJean has been to this defense. And I think if you take him out, similarly, you lose a mindset on that defense that he brought in. He's young, he's fast, he's hungry. Most importantly, his football IQ is through the roof. That's why he outsmarted the quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going to take Cooper DeJean at number 9, which makes me feel better because now that gives me 3 defensive guys in my top 10, and I couldn't go through this top 10. The easy thing to do, remember, is we got more talent on offense.
Yeah.
It's easy to rattle off 10 offensive guys, but this defense is very important. So I have 3 defensive guys so far through 9. Cooper DeJean at number 9.
All right, last one here. And I'm going to give you again the pick. And I'll ask you the question between these 2 players. Who do you believe was more instrumental in the team's success in 2025? Devontae Smith or Quinyon Mitchell?
You went the same place I went. This literally before you said this, I was thinking for number 10, do I go Smitty or do I go Quinyon? And that's the question. I think Quinyon does more for his respective side of the ball, but I think Devontae Smith is a better football player right now, as it stands right now. So it's kind of a push. I know you hate that. You're going to ride the fence on me, but give me Smitty.
Smitty over you think you can win a ball game without Smitty, or do you think you can win a ball game with Eli?
Ball game without Smitty.
Can you win a ball game with Eli Ricks and Keely Ringo playing corner without Q back there?
Hey, listen, man, if Ivanka Trump sees something in Eli Ricks, maybe there's something we're missing, Big Sills. No, I don't know. Maybe this is just a bias for me. I love Quinyon. I really don't want to slight Quinyon. I would do anything to get Quinyon in this top 10, but I can't. There's nobody I can sub out right now. I got to go Smitty, man. Some of the catches I watched that guy make, some of the toe taps, the way he runs routes, the way he makes everybody escape him, the big plays downfield, the big catch in the Super Bowl. You remember the catch in the back of the end zone where he toe taps, drags the toes at the end of the end zone. I can't take him off the field. I can. I'm sorry. That's part of what makes the offense potent. If you don't have Smitty and AJ, then AJ's not as good, Jalen's not as good, and Saquon's not as good. You
So
know,
you
they're
think
all
that
the reason for being so potent.
So you think Cooper's more of an impact on defense than what Q is?
I think Cooper is in more of a glue role in terms of if you lose that position, you know, I don't know if the defense holds up overall as well. But I do think Quinion right now he's your outside zone corner, right? Now, he's not easy to replace because he's really good at it. But if you take Cooper off the field, I think the defense could essentially fall apart in terms of, you know, the whole middle of the field. So that's why I went Cooper over Quinion. But I do not say that at all as a knock on what Quinion Mitchell has been. I think he's been excellent. I just think, you know, that Cooper, I thought he brought a little bit more overall to the defense, I think. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I'd like to ask Vic Fangio this question.
We'll answer all your supers here in a second. Please hit the like button. So I put Barkley at 1, AJ 2. I put Hurts 3, Lane 4, Mailata 5, Carter 6, Cam Jurgens 7, Cooper DeJean 8, Baun 9. Then I went with Zander with Smitty at 10 here. Here's Zander's. Hurts 1, Carter 2, Barkley 3, AJ 4, Baun 5, Lane 6, Mailata 7, Landon Dickerson 8, Cooper 9, and Smitty at 10.
Nice.
Those are the 10. Those are the 10 guys. You know what's funny? They're just positioned differently.
Yeah, right. It's all the same dudes. All the same dudes in different order. Yep.
Right. It's just like, you know, a dessert kind of thing here.
Yeah.
What you're looking at here. All right, let's get to these supers. Guys, do me a favor. We got Gary Cobb.
I already gave one honorable mention with Quinion, and I do want to give an honorable mention about the center because I think you made such a good point about that and how important that position is. And maybe it even flies under the radar a little bit. And I had 3 of the 4 returning offensive linemen in my top 10. I did not have the center, you know, Cam Jurgens. And I think an honorable mention there for Cam Jurgens is warranted.
Absolutely. Let's get to these supers before we get to Gary Cobb, who, by the way, was at NovaCare, and he was there for the press conference.
Yeah, just 2 supers real quick, so we'll rattle them off before we get to G Cobb.
Fox 29. Guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button.
Brandon Howard checking in. Member for 5 months. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it, Brandon. He says, leaving 2-time Super Bowl field goal kicker Elliott off the top 10 is wild. We're so used to his success, we take it for granted. 2 shaky years this year, and he was still great despite missing some 50-plus yard field goals this year, 100% field goal in the Super Bowl. Brandon, I appreciate your comment. If you think I'm putting Jake Elliott in the top 10 Eagles that we need to return this year, you are outside of your mind, my friend.
Hey, Brandon.
Are you kidding me?
Kickers aren't football players, okay? They are not football players. They're
Jake, just make the kick, bro. So just make the kick, man. Just make the kick, all right?
Get out of town. Go drink your umbrella drink. Sit underneath your umbrella. You think those guys do drills? Those guys sit under a tiki bar and they come out when they need to kick. Not football
Come
player.
on, Brandon. You're smarter than this, man. We like Jake Elliott, but he is not a top 10 Eagle that we need for 2026 or 2025. Are you kidding me? All right, last super here before G Cobb. Kyle Kokorski says, would you put Blankenship on that list? Actually, Sills, I think he'd be the next defender on the list after Q.
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you, Reed has probably carved himself out of a leadership role back there because every time you talk about
he's
secondary,
a communicator.
Vic's always talking about him, right?
He's the communicator on that secondary, Sills. He's the guy. So I think that's an honorable mention there, Kokorski, but not my top 10.
Look at Z keeping the main thing the main thing. I like it.
I tell you what, you turn on that Joe Burrow presser, you'll be feeling better about Jalen Hurts. That dude's whining about everything.
I'm going to need to. Big Z, great stuff. We'll catch you at Birds 65 in the morning. So before I get Gary Cobb in here, and I tell you, man, His Highness was speaking today, King Hurts, they was like, so the question was asked, hey, man, what about you not going to the White House? I didn't think the question was relevant to, my stay here with the Eagles as the leader of the football team, and the main thing's the main thing. Nicole Lynn, please put that on my agenda. Make sure that I talk to Bob Lang, that those kind of questions are not asked of me again. Thank you. Appreciate it. The process has never changed. And, I'm just like, I was like, damn, this guy's all like, I don't know, man. Went to like a finishing school or something. Like he went to a boarding school. I thought I was watching royalty today. See, I'm a simple dude. I don't know. Maybe Gary saw it differently. And then Nick Sirianni. Boy, I'll tell you, I'm going to ask Gary Cobb this because I believe I'm going to be right. You think that guy's going to be the highest paid coach in NFL history? Or do you think he's going to come in at around 16.5? How important do you think he is? Isn't it funny? You release. So before I get Gary, I want you to hear this before I bring you up here. So here's the Eagles press release, which is psycho if you read it. This thing's crazy if you read it. So here, listen to it. So the Eagles do this. And their press release yesterday was all about how we love consistency here with our football team. And our press release, here it is. I'm going to read it before I get Gary up. As an organization, we have always, under Jeffrey Lurie, I added, strive for great championship culture and sustained success that we created. Nothing is more important than fostering such an environment than having a tremendous leader and leadership. Okay. Nick has embodied everything we're looking for in a head coach since we hired him 4 years ago. His authentic style of leadership and Big Dom, football intelligence, all right, passion for the game, okay, and growth mindset help bring out the best in our team. I'm excited what the future holds for the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, well, what's the future? Is it 3 years? Is it 4 years? How much money did you pay him? Is he making more than Sean Payton? Is he making more than Mike Tomlin? When Andy Reid was named the highest paid coach in North American history at $20 million a year, the Chiefs had no problem touting that. The Hunts came out and basically said, Clark Hunt came out, the owner of the Chiefs, and went, we have the highest paid coach in pro football. What's the commitment? We knew they were going to extend him. So I heard the Mailata and all the guys, and I saw the superstars there today. So let me bring in Gary Cobb now from Fox 29. He was there. And let me get his takeaway with this. I mean, okay, I don't think, Gary, that we ever thought that Nick wasn't going to be extended, especially after winning a Super Bowl. But do you think they make him the highest paid coach in NFL history, giving him $21 million?
No, I don't think so. But they didn't want to reveal it. He didn't want to reveal it. And I think they probably had agreement they weren't going to reveal it. But I don't think he's making the most. I think he's up near there. But I don't think he's making the most. But then again, I really don't know. But I don't think so. But, of course, he was happy. And he's singing the song, man. They told him, sing this song when you get up there. He starts singing. So he's not telling, man.
Why wouldn't you want to tell them? Even Jordan Mailata said today, what did he get? How much money did he get?
Yeah, I know, but they're going like, hey, multiple years.
What's the secret?
Multiple years. I don't know, but it really doesn't matter, and it's going to come out.
Yeah, but don't you think that tells you what and how important they look at him? If you're not making him the highest paid coach for that resume, do you think the organization looks at that and goes, well, we won before him? And you know what? This is more about that press release itself made it sound more about what the culture they had set up with Nick parachuting in. And by the way, I'm just trying to find out how they look at him. Like, do you think when the owner of the team...
No, I could be wrong with who knows? He might be making the most.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And you know what? And you know why? Because Lurie has shown that he does not mind spending the money.
Okay.
If it's something that he thinks is going to help them win, and clearly the guy's done an outstanding job. I mean, he has, at times, with some of the the stuff he's done on the sideline and everything been blasted pretty good. But if you step back and you look at it, I mean, the guy was at a Super Bowl just a few years ago. And he now they almost won that one, but come back again this year and they win the whole thing. So he's been knocking at the door. He's been in the playoffs every year that he's been there. And I will give him credit, man. He's been getting better. He's getting better with dealing with the press. When he first got here, and Philly's not easy, Guys are going to be, right away. If you go, I hope they don't ask me that. They're going to ask you that then. They're going to ask. So he's been able to deal. Like today, he was on top of it. He was on top of it. And you can see where he's more relaxed. He's not intimidated by the stuff. As you win a Super Bowl, you should be relaxed. But then he's getting into the things, and he has really done a good job, because the way they started out last year, he does have a team that's a very close team. Those guys, when they talk about each other, you can see that they defend each other. They're there with each other, and they're battling, and they talk about the things they got to do. And even in the auditorium, I was looking up there today in the auditorium. What they had up in the auditorium, they talking about causing turnovers and avoiding turnovers on offense, and they had the pictures up there of everything. I mean, he preaches just like a good coach is going to preach. What is it going to help for us to win? All we care about is winning, and he talks about it, and he's got more confident. I've seen that just from checking him out. He's got more confident as going on, and the players play hard for him. So, and that's what you're supposed to be doing as a coach. So I'll give him credit there. And who knows, he might be making the most, because like I said, Jeffrey Lurie has been willing to pay the money if it's needed. And then, of course, head coach is important. So
how about this, Gary?
Yeah.
Do you, outside of winning the Super Bowl, obviously one of the reasons for the extension as well, and like you said, the resume, do you think that one of the things that made Nick a better fit for the Eagles than Doug was that his willing to adjust? And let me give you some examples here. Howie Roseman adjusting from never drafting a linebacker, paying a linebacker, paying a running back.
Yep.
And you go into the bye, and you are not known for being a running offensive-minded coach.
Yes.
You are just not. I mean, every stop he's either had Phillip Rivers or he's been with Frank. They've thrown the ball from the pocket. This guy's not going to turn around and go, we're going to go for 35 passes down to like 20 and 19. Yes. That's not going to happen. Do you think that one of the reasons that also sold him, because let's face it, the 2-2 start, people were screaming at his name 8 months ago. They're screaming his name. Should this guy be fired? I mean,
talking about the machete.
Do you think that ability to evolve and change that quickly was also an endearing thing to what those guys like, and how he fits better than maybe even Doug ever fit?
Without a doubt. I mean, look at that adjustment that he made, to go with the strength of the team and flow with it, and everybody wasn't comfortable with them, basically taking the ball out of Hurts's hand, and really doing everything offensively around Saquon. Amazing. I mean, they really and the fact that they wore teams down, and by the time the end of the game, Saquon's taking off on 60, 70-yard runs for touchdowns, and telling everybody drive safely. This one is over. And they did that, and and he basically said, hey, what does it take to win? We don't care how we win. And Jalen was out talking about that today. Hey, look, we don't care how we win. And a quarterback can say, hey, man, I want the ball, and a lot of times, a veteran quarterback, older guy, he wants to sit back there and throw the ball. But Jalen's is got really it's circled what is really important, which is find ways to put W's up. Ultimately, that's all that's going to matter. And they made an adjustment last year because they never played like that. They never played a game like that. Even though they had an outstanding offensive line all these years, they never said, okay, I'll tell you what, we are running the ball down your throat. I want all you guys to get that. Like when they come out for the coin toss. Hey, you guys, let me tell you something. Whoever the opposing team is, we got some bad news for you guys in your defense because we're running the ball down your throat. Okay? Now, if you don't like that, maybe you need to go back to the locker room because we are running the ball down your throat, and we're gonna make it. We're gonna do it so much, we're gonna make you like it. You know, and they did it. I mean, I gotta give them credit. And Nick, you know, they made the adjustment because at first I'm going like, you know, but hey, Saquon, they rolled through the whole season, and really not until the Super Bowl, nobody really stopped them like that. I mean, but you know, you got to give KC credit. They stopped them, but they wound up with a 40 spot on them.
Absolutely. Gary, let me ask you this then. Do you think in Philly, because there's been such a precedent set now, that as fast as he's got goodwill now, and the way the owner is, dude, I'll tell you, the owner is pretty emotional at times. I mean, he makes emotional decisions here. Could that thing swing back the other way in any kind of form or way where if they go like this, say the Petula doesn't work. I mean, do you think that the owner of the team is too emotional when it comes to sometimes these decisions? Because it seems that, hey, you know, when he's talking about the Buccaneer playoff loss, he goes, it's embarrassing. They almost fired him after that. The 2-2 start. People were like, this guy needs to go. Could that reverse if this thing went south this way? I mean, is he too emotional, the owner?
I don't think he's too emotional. If anything, I just think he's been. How long has he been in Philly? See,
since 95?
It had to rub off on him. This is Philly, man. This is Philly. What do you say? They do not have a lot of patience, and you know what? They want to win. You know, everybody wants to win. It's about winning. It's not about, you know, whatever the ratings or whatever. Look, win. That's what it's all about. It's really not that complicated. And if you stop winning, there are going to be problems. You know, so you know, but that's the NFL. Philly does the NFL straight up raw, man. It's like, you know, the kind of guy going, man, I know you're gonna cook that. Hey, nah, man, I'm gonna eat it raw. You know, that's Philly, man. They are not playing around. It's all about winning. If you win, we love you. If we find out you're a loser, then we're gonna get the machete out. You know,
absolutely, man. I'll tell you.
I mean, and that's the way they do. And so, I think that you know, for them to turn that fast, it would take. You know, I mean, it's not impossible. You know, it's not, and it's not like, you know, they're gonna wait around and let you, you know, keep screwing up. You know, it's only gonna go but so long. I mean, like if he were to have a bad year this year, they wouldn't can him probably. You know, they wouldn't can him.
Look, you're not. You even put 10% out there on you. You gave yourself 10%, Gary Cobb. That's not fair. I heard you.
Look, I don't think they would can him. He's going to get at least a year, you know. But, I mean, come on. Look at the other guy.
I know. I'm with you here.
This is Philly. And you know what? Philly loves the Eagles more than any of the other teams.
Oh, absolutely.
And so they care. So you see the people, man, if they lose, man, and people, you go in there, I'm going like, I understand. You know, people are, man, what happened? What's going on with such and such? You know, I can't even go get something to eat. You know, people, hey, it's going to be all right, man. Relax.
It's great. It's civic pride. They
care.
Oh, yeah, the Eagles.
They care. And because they care, what you said is not, you know, oh, that would never happen. No, I'm not going to say that could never happen.
That's the thing I've learned about Philly. Don't ever say that can't happen, because it surely can happen in Philly, because they may like you for 10 months. If you shit the bed, they're on your ass the last 2 months of the season. That's for damn sure here.
I mean, and that's what it is. And you know, they care about this team, man. They care about this team. And throughout, you know, you even got like basketball players, right? Oh, here we're talking to some basketball players. They go, oh man, can't wait till the season starts. They ain't even talking about their season. Talking about the Eagles. Come on, man.
Hey, I got a couple more questions here for you, and I want to play a game with you here. Who do you think this coming season that you can't live without more? Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley?
I think it's going to be Jalen. I think they're going to throw the ball more this year than they did last year.
Wow.
You know, I think.
Are you a fan of that? Are you a fan of that?
I just think it's a thing where they're going to adjust to the defenses because defenses have looked at their running game.
They said that today.
Yeah,
they have to evolve.
Yeah, so I could see that happening naturally, and your boy AJ, he didn't say it. He didn't say I want the ball. And they didn't say that. He don't have to say it. Okay, he's a wide receiver, man. Come on. I never played with any wide receivers. Well, any of them that were any good wanted the ball, man.
Hey, but Gary, did you hear him today? He goes, I don't know what it's going to look like. I just know this. This thing's got to evolve, and we got to evolve as an offense. And I was going like, you mean throw me the ball? Why don't you just say it? Throw me the ball.
Hey, he said, hey, all he's doing is getting ready to play, and he's not getting into that. But we know that's the deal. Hey, any decent wide receiver, they want the ball. They want the ball some. And last year they really took the ball out of Hurts' hands, and they really, shut the offense. I mean, the passing game.
Totally.
It took a back seat, and hey, you win a Super Bowl, that's great. But I don't think they're going to keep that up. Plus, I don't think they're going to put all that weight on Saquon. I mean, come on, you're trying to make him age quickly,
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to put that on him. They're still going to run the ball a lot, but I think they're going to throw more. That's what I'm saying. I think they're going to throw more, and I think defenses are studying all offseason how they're going to stop that pass. I mean, their running game. Come on, the defensive coordinators last year, man, the guy ran for however much yardage against. Those guys don't go home and sleep, man. They don't stay. They're up. They go, honey, what are you doing in there? They put that tape back on. They go like, man, look, I'm going to be out of work if we don't find a way to stop this guy. So they're in there looking at that tape, man, those defensive coordinators. And so they're going to try different things, as you saw with Kansas City. Kansas City basically put everything in. We're going to stop Saquon. Well, they stopped Saquon, but they got the big L on their head, And so, they got to be able to take advantage of opportunities they're going to get because people are going to try to stop Saquon Barkley.
You are the perfect person. I got two more for you. You are the perfect person to ask this because tell the folks, you do a lot of stuff with the NFL Players Association, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I've got a conspiracy theory. Are you ready?
Oh, okay.
All right. So this bullshit flag football thing, okay, so the league has just okayed for the NFL players to participate in 28 in the LA games.
Yeah.
What a better way to stay out of a courtroom than to somehow, because they're starting a league. Serena Williams is buying into it. The owners are putting a league together for flag football. And they're going to start implementing NFL players in this league. Gary, I am a conspiracy theorist. All right. I admit it.
Okay.
However, what's the biggest fear for owners? Having to admit CTE is a real thing because of football. What a better way to take, like Troy Aikman said, the helmets away and have flag football and have it be a prominent thing with superstar players. What a better way to transition out of it and take the physics. Look at what they're doing on a yearly basis, Gary. They're taking the physics of defenseless wide receivers. You can't hit anybody.
You're right.
You don't even know what a sack is.
You're right. You're right.
What do you make of this flag football thing?
I don't think they know where it's going, but they got a feel for some things now, which you can see the way they're doing the game was they really They want scoring. They want, the great play downfield and everything, So I don't know where it's headed. Let's say you come back here, 50 years from now, maybe this is the NFL,
Gary, do you think the game is what it was 20 years ago?
Well, it's clearly not the same game. No, it's not. It's not the same.
Do you think LT could play in today's NFL?
Oh yeah. Okay, come on.
With the physicality of how he hit quarterbacks?
Well, he would have to change some things. He would definitely have to change some things, but he can get to the quarterback. So he would,
You think Tatum? You think Tatum
back when he gets back there? Well, Jack Tatum will have some problems.
Yeah.
No, he would have, come on. You can't hit people like he would hit people. He can't do that. He would be getting in a lot of trouble. Well, he get tossed. Come on.
You think Ronnie Lott could play in today's NFL?
Well, he would have to make adjustments again. They would not let those guys go in, head first and hitting the other guy in the head too. So they would have to alter some things, and I think they realize that. Yeah, I'm sure
think
that
Andre Waters could play today.
He would have to change his game. Same way.
Yeah.
They would not let those guys play, where they're going. Hey, they're looking for that chin shot.
Yeah, you're looking for that good night. You're looking for that good night shot.
That's right. Hey, after like a good boxer, he's looking for that chin, man.
Yeah.
You cannot. They do not want guys looking for the chin. They don't give you a chance to look for the chin in today's game.
Flag football's coming.
I tell you, there's part of it that people love. They love the big play.
Of course, they love the big hits. I love the big hits.
Well, I'm talking about the big play. I'm not talking about the big hits.
Oh, okay.
The big hits, come on.
All right.
Come on. The NFL does not love the big hits.
No, they don't. No, remember they used to sell. There used to be a video. Remember the NFL biggest hits?
Yes.
You can't find that thing anymore.
No, you can't find that now. No. I mean, and the guys you mentioned, come on, all those guys were big hit guys. Somebody coming across that middle, are you crazy? Reaching up there like that, chin all open.
Kenny Easley, man,
Kenny Easley too. Yeah, those guys would have to alter their game. They would not turn them loose the way they did back then. This is a different game. They don't allow that, and I tell you, you probably need to call the commissioner because some of the plans and stuff you're talking about. I don't know what they're planning up there. I don't know
either.
But I tell you, people do love a wide open scoring game. They do love that. And you know what? You probably got right there? The women love it. The scoring.
And you got the moms letting the kids play without having any kind of BS conversation.
Bingo. You got it, man. You got it. And I could see where they're thinking that way. But it's definitely a different game. It's more of a passing game. It's more of a wide open scoring game and that sort of thing. So clearly that's where it's going. We'll see how fast it goes, though. But when you start talking about the things they're doing with the Olympics and all that and everything, who knows? I'm just going to get out of the way, man. I mean,
it's a great way to get chicks involved in it too. Like you said, I mean,
you're right.
Get even in the game here. Final one for you.
And women love the game. Come on.
Oh, they do.
I know.
Gary, 49% of the audience is women.
Bingo. Look at that.
They
love it. Yeah. They're passionate about it like the guys, man.
Yeah.
And so I think it's wise on their part. They're looking ahead. They're seeing what kind of changes what we need to make. And, guys, like ourselves, we got to get out of the way, man.
Hey, old man, get off my lawn, dudes. I got it, man. Get out of the way here.
Get out of the way, especially, get out of the way of the money. Now, don't get in the way of the money now.
Sound like my wife.
Hey. If you get in the way of the money, that's the way to say adios,
You know what? I always tell people this, Gary. Yeah, the NFL's prejudiced. They only look at one number or one color, green.
Yeah.
That's the only color they give a shit about is what sells. And that leads me to this.
Yes.
Do you think that this is more of a decision with the tush push today or tomorrow? Do you think that this is more of this? That just doesn't look aesthetically pleasing of a play on TV that's going to help us. I mean, it's, I tell people this all the time. The worst play in football is the extra point, but that's a commercial stop set. Every time you kick a field goal or an extra point, you go to commercial. You make money on that play.
That's right. That's right.
When you're looking at the tush push play,
are
you looking at it like you just got through saying, Gary, everyone likes the explosion plays. They like the big plays down the field.
Yes.
And watching a team scrum it 4 times a game for 5 or 6, 7, 8 yards, that probably doesn't look good on the tube.
Well, but see, I don't see it as that. This is what I think.
All right.
And I could understand them up in New York thinking this way. Who is the most valuable player on each team? As far as they're concerned, who's the most popular player? The quarterback. Okay. Who might be in jeopardy? Now, now Hurts can run this play. How many of these other quarterbacks can really run this play and be safe? You know what I mean? I don't think they want a lot of them.
Guys can't jump over a stack of pennies.
They do not want some of these guys running that play because if they get hurt and now their quarterback's out, they do not want that, man.
Oh no.
Well, that's why. Come on, they've changed things to protect everybody, but who do they protect more than anybody else? Though
quarterback.
They want to protect that quarterback. If you breathe hard on the quarterback, they're going, look, you know what? Breathe hard on him one more time, and you're out of here because that quarterback is the money. Come on, it's part of putting those people in the seats. The people's name that they know is they know the name of the quarterback, and therefore I don't think they want to run the risk of some of those guys running this play. They don't. Come on. How many of them you'd say, no way, I would not want him running that play? No. They do not want those guys running that play, man. They want to say, you know what? We want to go a different direction. We don't want our quarterbacks running this play. Now, maybe Hurts can run it, but we do not want these other guys running the play because they will get hurt.
I don't want Burrow running that play.
No, come on. They do not want them running that play, man.
Or Tua.
Come on. You don't want even Tua to even see it. You tell him blind his eyes.
Yeah, no.
No way you want him running that play. And you want him back there throwing that football. And that's what you want all the quarterbacks doing. You want them back there throwing that football. And I don't think they want us going in that direction where you got quarterbacks running a play like that.
Man, I tell you this, and you tell me if you think I'm wrong on this one. More to protect the quarterbacks than any other quarterback in history. And where I'm going with this is what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, they don't want a backup quarterback in the Super Bowl when these owners are investing $60 million to $50 million in those guys.
That's right.
To have some substitute actor. I brought this up too, Gary.
Yeah.
Last year in 2024, the top 100 TV shows, 89 of them were football.
Come on.
Okay? 89 were football, like regular season games, playoff games. The Super Bowl obviously destroyed any other television programming.
Yes.
You don't want to put a substitute teacher, right?
That's right.
In that game, especially when you got 100 million people watching.
That's right. Come on. Come on. You got a movie. Come on. You got a movie. They're promoting the movie. Here you got the stars out of the movie. We're going like, man, I'm going to go in to see that movie. I mean, such and such is not in. Come on. Who would have a movie and you don't have the stars? So I think that that's that simple, and they do not want them running that tush push. So that's why the tush push is, I don't know that it's gonna be able to hang around.
I'm with you, Gary. So how was Novacare today, man? They carted out all the stars. I mean, Mailata was there, AJ was there, Hurt, Nick, everyone was there. I mean, everybody back to work now. Is that what this is?
Yeah, it's back to work right now. Yeah, it's back to work. They're getting to know these young kids. See, they're getting a chance to see them now. To give them a little taste. Start saying, hey, young fella, jump in there for a play. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. So you start seeing some of these guys because they know that later on, it's going to take some time, but they need some of these young kids to help them in this first year. See, so they got to find out. A lot of times they find out, who's got a little bit up here and who they go like, oh well, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait on him. They got to find out, who's got it up here. Who can make good decisions and that sort of thing. So they're getting a taste of it, and then a lot of the young kids are meeting their, the veterans. See, so the veterans are getting a look at them too, and they said that some of them have looked pretty good, but they haven't really gotten that serious yet. They're up there working out and everything, but we'll find out, shortly if any of them going to be able to help them in this first year, because that's what they need now is, we need to see who can help us this year. You other guys that are going to be on the long-term plan, then you get over another line.
Hey, Gary, I wore this in honor of you today here at Black Knight. See this right here, Stanford High School right here.
Yeah.
And I got to leave you with this here.
Okay.
The most obnoxious fans in the history of the United States of America will be Knicks fans. If that team wins the NBA championship.
Oh, man.
Hey, Gary, you would swear 1973 happened last year.
I'm telling you, man.
Right? I mean, Earl the Pearl Monroe was still playing for those guys.
I remember those old teams with who was the Dave DeBusschere, Willis Reed, and those guys. Yeah.
Hey,
Bill Bradley and those guys.
If they win with Brunson the NBA championship, you will never hear a more obnoxious fan base than the New York Knicks and the New York fan base, because you would swear they've been a dynasty for the last 10 years. I'm not rooting for the Knicks to win this.
You're right. Well, I can tell you probably the NBA is rooting for them.
Oh, you bet. Oh, no, they want the Knicks in this thing to win this thing because they need New York. New York hasn't been relevant since Patrick Ewing.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Hey, because I hear New York guys go, we're going to win the NBA. I'm like, guys, shut up. You haven't won an NBA championship in 40 years.
It has been a long time, man. It has been a long time.
I mean, the Sixers have won an NBA championship before you did.
Hey, I remember I was a kid, right? And my older brother, he had done something. He played ball. And my older brother, James, Willis Reed and Walt Frazier came and took a picture with him in Stanford,
No way.
Oh, yeah. After they won the championship. And I mean, going like, man, going like, you still here, man? You over here taking pictures with Walt Frazier and Willis Reed, man. He was floating on a cloud, man. But they had a great team back then. But I don't know if we can take the Knicks, man.
No.
Some people, it's just because some of their fans are just so obnoxious.
Oh, completely. Hey, Gary, I used to, when I lived in Stanford, I used to cut the lawn of Larry O'Brien. He lived up near Pound Ridge.
Yeah, you're right.
And I cut, he was former commissioner, the trophy's named after him.
That's right.
So I'm up there near the Italian Center.
Yeah.
And I'm mowing this dude's lawn. He comes out. And all of a sudden, this guy comes out. He's got Bill Bradley with him. I'm like, is that Bill Bradley Knicks? And sure enough, there's Bill Bradley with him. I guess this was like right after he retired.
Yeah.
Went on to become a senator or something.
That's right. Yeah.
And Bill Bradley's at his house. I mean, Robustelli lived up in that neck of the woods.
That's right.
That's where Jackie lived too. Jackie lived.
Yeah, I know. I mean, who knows? Every now and then we had a game up there. So I knew what it looked like up there, but of course we didn't live up there.
Where you lived on Strawberry Hill? Is that what you're saying?
We lived on the other side of town. Okay.
Oh, I see. So you lived on the west side. Right.
Hey, no, I really live on the east side,
Okay, on the east side.
But it was I'm not gonna say the poor east side. I'll just say the east side. Okay. I'm not gonna say the poor east side. I'm gonna say the east side. Okay. Yeah. But anyway,
hey, Gary, how good was your high school football team at Stanford High? Did you guys we
won a state championship like when my freshman year, sophomore year.
Mike Haggerty was on that team, right?
Yeah, Haggerty was on there, but we really won it with was a guy named John Darling was our quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
And we had some good teams with those guys because really I used to hang around with my brother. My brother was on the teams winning and I got to know a lot of the guys then. So they called me Little Cobb.
Yeah, man. You had your family, dude. your brother, basketball. If I'm not mistaken, by the way, I've talked to him. I think he lives in Phoenix still.
Yeah.
He's a teacher there, and I've talked to him.
I know.
I knew him. I knew him.
Who's that,
And Ernie. And I'll tell you, man,
Yeah.
Ernie, if I'm not mistaken, I think he was the leading scorer, like in Stanford history and FCAC history.
Hey.
Right?
Hey, Ernie, when Ernie started feeling it, man, you might as well know. Hey, he could be dropping them from anywhere. I tell you, if he was playing now, man, with this 3-point thing, boy, he would be lethal, boy.
Who's that guy that played at Norwalk that played for the Rockets?
Yeah, I'm trying to I know you're right. There was a guy that played for the
guy that played for the Rockets, and they won, like, I forget his name. He was a little guy.
Yeah, he was a little guy.
And he was like we had great athletes in our area.
And then you go way back to Calvin Murphy,
That's it, Calvin Murphy.
Yeah,
he played at Norwalk.
Yeah, Calvin Murphy, you're right. Yeah, Calvin Murphy. I mean, he was from another planet, man, that Calvin Murphy. Great athlete, man. Great athlete. Little guy, but he could fill it up, man.
Absolutely. Gary, this has been awesome, brother. I appreciate you so much. Thank you again for coming aboard, man. Make sure you check him out on Box 29 in Philadelphia. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it.
Have a good one. All right.
Our good friend, Gary Cobb. I got to bring something up to you. Does anybody know the name Ernie Cobb? Does anybody know the name Ernie Cobb? Come on. Let's see how smart you are. Abe says no. Does anybody know who Ernie Cobb is? Jason, no. Okay. None of you. Come on. Who? Okay. Now that you guys are probably Googling it, negative, I will tell you, Ernie Cobb was part of the Boston College point shaving scandal. Yeah, his brother was indicted on the Boston College point shaving scandal. He's a teacher now in Phoenix. Any relation to Gary? It's his brother, Henry Hill. Right. Goodfellas. Little salty dog there. That's all we're doing. Hey, man, what sport point shaving? Basketball? Right? Not many people know that. Great dude. Ernie Cobb's a great dude. Great dude. Massive mistake in his life, but he's a good dude. He's a school teacher now in Phoenix. It's true. He's a school teacher. I think he also is like the basketball coach, and he's very, he doesn't want to like go public or anything with that. But it's never been proven. Cobb agreed. That's right. That's why he was, I don't think he was indicted, Emrys. Help me out on that. I thought he was, but maybe it was just questioning. I think there were a couple guys that got busted for that. I don't think he did. Yeah, Gary doesn't bring that up much. I'm surprised he said Ernie. Ernie can play, man. Ernie was one of the best high school basketball players I've ever seen. Okay? Right. That's right. Hey, I know, man. Yeah. The Cobb family's legendary in New England and Stanford, where I'm from. Legendary. And Henry Hill got to couple of the players on the team. And I don't really think, I think Ernie just got caught up in it. Yeah. According to, I think you're right though, M. Reyes. Yeah. What is basketball? All right, John Morgan's going to join us, and we'll get his thoughts. We're going to go around the horn here with sports with our friend John Morgan. Speaking of that, don't forget, folks, Morgan & Morgan, the number one injury law firm in America. And the reason they have $30 billion in recovery is because they win. Told you about the family in Pennsylvania that got $26 million in recovery. Family down in Florida that got $12 million. All these insurance companies came in with a claim that was so unbefitting of what their issues were. Morgan & Morgan went in with thousands of attorneys and made sure they got what families around the country expect, and that is fair treatment. Look at what's happened in California with all the families that lost their homes. Morgan & Morgan is going in there and getting restitution for those families. That's exactly why you hire Morgan & Morgan. Log online and go forthepeople.com/big sills or pound law 529. That's forthepeople.com/big sills or pound law 529. And do me a favor, you tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES, Eagles.
I want to put this in proper context here. So I want to make sure that I'm putting this out here, and I want to make sure that I'm reading correctly. And I want to make sure that I do this right because I want to go from context here. So my aunt and my wife and my family get pissed off every time I bring up some of the things that happened in my past by saying things on the air, what have you. So Ryan Clark, who is an analyst, a paid analyst for ESPN, okay? He's a paid analyst, covers the NFL, does podcasting shows, what have you, okay? Has said this about RG3, that RG3, because he's married to a white woman, says that RG3 lacks the empathy for black women, that he can't speak to the conversation of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese because he's married to a white chick. I had to listen to the soundbite. And I really had to listen and read the context of it. Can you imagine somebody saying that? That you can't comment on something in sports because you're married to a white woman. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, there's a different standard set. If I came out and ever said, how would that black guy know what he's talking about? He's married to a white chick. I made a mistake on the air. This guy thinks this. So Saquon Barkley can't comment on black issues with black women in America because he's got a white girlfriend? Dude, to me, love is love. I mean, I wish we had more of it in the world. Whether you're married to a white woman, Protestant, a Jew, a Catholic, we need more of it. Putting people in a box because of your skin color. I mean, let me tell you this. Ryan Clark works for woke ESPN, not surprised. Let me tell you something here. And I'm proud to have seen this. When I lived in Florida, I never in a million years ever roomed with a black guy before. I barely went to school with black guys. The greatest education I ever got was going to Miami. And you know what Jimmy did? My roommates were Alonzo Highsmith, Jerome Brown, Daryl Fullington, and Donnie Ellis. Those were the guys. I was the only white guy in this quad. I remember going to Coach Johnson. I remember saying to Coach, you put me with 3 black guys? I didn't even go to school with black guys. Shut up. Jerome heard about it. Jimmy told him. The greatest education I ever got. I saw what single white or single black moms had to deal with. And fathers left those guys. And those struggles those women went through. Let me say this to you too. I'll bring this up to you. I'll never forget. I go down to Belglades, Florida. Wide receiver friend of mine. Dirt on the floor, grass on the roof. Was drafted in the first round, bought his mom a home. Man, what a lesson in life. Struggles, especially black single moms. There's a statute of limitations. Bring up that stuff. Your past shouldn't be a problem. What a guy thrown out of a window. He's fine. Thank you. I do love white women, though. There you go. You see, I'm reversed. I'm a Sierra. Sorry, man. I'm a Sierra. It's something about Sierra, and I'm all in on it. I'm good, you know. Sorry, Leon, you and me are reversed. You do like the white. Hey, Leon, I'm a Sierra. So I'm a Sierra guy. Okay? I like that, you know, that shelf. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Yeah. Excuse me, Sue. Italians aren't white. We're Italians. When you check in the box, white, black, other. I check other and write in Paisan. I don't write white. I write Italian. Yeah. Okay? I write Italian. Whatever you want to make that sound like, that's up to you. I am not white. I am Italian, and I am very proud of that. Of being a paisan. Okay? We're kind of like, you know, whatever. We kind of fit in everywhere. That's why Jerome would say this. Sileo, there's not a chance in hell you're white. White guys don't run that fast. It's just such a great way to learn about your friends and love. Man, my best friends are my teammates to this day. And I swear to God, it's the greatest lesson I ever got being around people like Jerome Brown. Hey, I told you the story before. Derwin Jones's mom come running on the field like you see in that movie, that basketball movie. She come in there, he ain't playing and practicing until he gets his grades up. He ain't going to be some stupid-ass kid who doesn't get an education and graduate. You're graduating, Derwin. Man, I'm like, damn. It was like, you know, you're like, Jerome looked at me. She looked at me. She goes, don't you be a bad influence. I hear you bring my son out at night and you go down to them strip clubs down there on off the causeway. Silly-o. I'm like, Mrs. Jones, who told you that? She goes, Jerome did. I go, you stupid ass. That ain't true. He does that. He's the one that takes him down to the diamonds. She goes like this. Jerome? She goes, I don't go there. Yeah. It was such a great melting pot being involved with that. It just really was. And to hear Ryan Clark say that, how do you know what RG3's mom went through? She doesn't have black sisters, maybe? He doesn't have black sisters? What an asshole statement. Typical for Bob Iger. That fits the Disney narrative. And you allow that guy to stay on the air and saying this, hey, black guys, you can't marry for love. Stay in your lane. That's what he's telling you. If you meet somebody in your life that you love, white or black, Latino or Leon, you're only supposed to vote black and marry black. Stay in your lane, black guys. That's Ryan Clark. Man. That ain't Big Sills. Look at that. Leon, right? You sound like Joe Biden. If you vote for Trump, you ain't black. What's that mean? Hey, I get lighting a flame to a topic. I'm a professional at it. Okay? I'm a professional at that. But that? So you took a shot at RG3's wife. For what? I see. He gets a pass. Me? I get 4 years of exile. Hey, man. Must be something else. All right. So Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Look at the numbers here. It's incredible. 3.1 at its highest point. 2.7 million people watched that game the other day between Chicago and Indiana. 2.7 million viewers. It's the most in ESPN and any platform they've ever had for a WNBA game. This rivaled some playoff games. And the only thing the WNBA could come up with is what? The only thing they could come up with for that great game is somebody saying something in the stands instead of promoting that game. And the league, they're falling back on somebody allegedly saying something in the stand. They made more of a statement on that potential whatever than the game itself. Hey, I support Angel Reese. Not basketball related. How you doing? She's a honey for sure. By the way, I didn't realize she started at Maryland before she went to LSU. Hey, Brian, I like the dynamic they have with this. It's must-see TV. It is must-see TV. It is. Caitlin Clark is the Tiger Woods of the WNBA. They're absolutely, and she's absolutely killing it. This one white chick, is she the greatest player in the history of, I don't know. I don't watch WNBA. I don't really know the history. Nor do I care. You see, you got to remember something about me. I'm a content guy. I'm not going to sit here and cover Major League Baseball on a day-to-day basis like the Phillies. Why? I think it's a nice story. I think they're a good team. Wake me up in July after the All-Star break. We'll see where they are. Baseball is the most boringest sport going. There's no storylines. What's the biggest storyline in baseball right now? Does anybody know? What's the biggest storyline in baseball? Shohei Ohtani? I'm making that up. I don't know. The Dodgers? What's the biggest storyline? I saw Kyle Schwarber hit his 300th home run. They're talking about potentially him hitting 500 home runs. Is that compelling? Not really. Not really. Get this. Golf's got great ratings. Why? Because they tracked white American eyeballs. And golf is a relatable sport. That's why. And people want to be around millionaires. Every player that plays is a millionaire. Yeah. Get this. Yale says golf bores me. Do you hear what they just did at the PGA Championship? They sold 15 hats every 3 seconds. Those hats go for $50. Somebody's watching it. Rather watch baseball? I'm not sitting around for 9 innings watching some guy sit around, scratch his nuts, and, step out of the box 70, 80 times. I know they put a clock on that shit now, but I'm not sitting around watching that. Guy scratches nuts for four at-bats, and guy spit a little bit, hang out there in right field, scratch your nuts, 4.5-hour game. I'm not interested in that. That's not compelling. It's just not. That's my, hey. Now, maybe Sue likes watching a guy scratch his nuts. I don't know. But what I'll say, I don't know. Okay. That'd probably be something more that Twiz would want to watch. So Twiz, stay out of the gutter. Yeah, I would think Twiz and Prince would maybe want to watch guys scratching their nuts more. That'd be baseball's probably up their alley. Yeah. M. Reyes, I'm leaving you out of that. I don't know why, but I'm leaving you out of that. I don't know why. You've been pretty good. Prince has been kind of like a jackass, and he's been taking massive L's so far since Monday. Dude, I have not seen Prince take more L's, okay, than since Sue has lost LBs the last month watching Big Sills. Prince is just getting his ass handed to him, and Twiz is going down with him. Twiz has been hanging out with the L's too. There's a new club here with Big Sills. It's called the L Takes Club. Twiz, Reyes, Prince, you're all in it. I'm not sure you can get out of it. Prince is just getting, I've never seen a guy take more massive L's. Okay? YouTube. Hey, Matthew, you're now part of the L Club too. A lot of guys taking L's. You know why? Because when you listen to Big Sills and you got a different opinion, how could you have anything other than the same opinion as me? You see your world through the Jalen Hurts kaleidoscope. You my God, love him. I don't love him. You kidding? Sileo is one of the greatest passers, and he's Dan Marino of the 2020s. You crazy? Nick Sirianni. Here's Eagle fans. Hurts is the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. And I'll tell you, when he feels like turning it on as a passer, this guy's got nothing on anybody. He's one of the greatest arms of all time. And that Sirianni guy, shit, if you thought Shula was great and you thought Belichick was great, have you seen this guy's win percentage? Shit. Best freaking coach in the history of the National Football League is our Eagle guy. He's the best ever. Yeah. He's the best ever. Just quit ducking McMullen. It's not ducking John. John's got great opinions. But you can't have a debate with somebody who thinks that if somebody has an opposing view, that's not a debate. It's a screaming match. Sounds like my family back in Connecticut. It's just everyone hollering. It's not really a debate. It's like, hey, remember, in my house, and when we were debating, like a topic, my uncles, my aunt, when we were all sitting around debating something, it wasn't who had the facts. It was more of who hollered the loudest. There you go. We had a guy, Sue. By the way, John Morgan's going to join us in a couple minutes. Sue, we had a guy that lived next. His name was George Bratsenis. My grandfather used to have this Italian guy who was a fireman. This Italian guy would come over to our house, and my grandfather was loud, as you could tell. Okay? This guy would come over, my grandfather would close the windows. Holy God, the animals. We live like animals here. That's what my grandfather would say. The famous sayings in my house were, from my grandmother, my aunt's going to start laughing. This is the house that Jack built. And close the windows. The animal, I don't want anyone to hear the animals. I think it was animals. I don't know. Something like that. It was like animals. Oh, you're screaming like an animal. What are you doing in here? My folks spoke Italian the whole time. I'm not kidding you. When I was younger, My folks spoke Italian 50. My aunt will tell you 50% of the time. I grew up in a really paisan home. Sills, the Three Stooges featuring Prince, Reyes, and Senor. I love that. The Three Donkeys. Hey, Kyle, what do you think? A new show on JAKIB. Following birds, the Three Donkeys. Reyes, Senor, and Prince. I like that. The Three Donkeys. Yeah. Oh, and Sue. Yeah. Yeah. And Sue. Right? The Three Donkeys. Yeah, I love it, man. Absolutely, the Three Donkeys. Let's see here. Double checking here. All right. Yeah. All good. I like the show. Prince can't take it right now. He's just, there's too many else. There's just too many else going on here. All right. Oh, by the way, before we get John Morgan on, I want to do something here. Prince be having me dying sometimes. Prince is just not, here's Senor too. Where's Senor? I don't know. Kissing Big Sills' ass. Nobody kisses my ass in here. What are you, a jerk? Kisses my ass. All right. So I wrote this down here. And it is May 20th. We'll do this before we get John Morgan. And I wrote down my divisions. AFC East, AFC North, South, and the West, both AFC and NFC. And this is how I see it. As of right now, post-draft, AFC East, I got Buffalo, Miami, New England, and the Jets. AFC North, I have Baltimore, Cincy, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland. NFC South. AFC South. Houston, Indy, Jacksonville, AFC West. Chargers are going to win it and upset Kansas City. Kansas City second. Number 3 is Denver. Number 4, I got the Raiders. Now for the NFC. I've got in the NFC East, Washington, Philly, Dallas, and New York Giants. NFC North, Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, and Chicago. In the South, I've got the Bucks, Atlanta, Carolina, and New Orleans. And in the West, Rams, Niners, Seattle, and I got Arizona. see if we can run down our friend here. Hopefully we're able to run down John. And I know Zander's working on him right now, so hopefully we're able to run him down here. So those are my division winners. Buffalo in the East, Baltimore in the North, Houston in the South. I got the Chargers upsetting Kansas City in the West. In the NFC, I got Washington, North Detroit, South Tampa Bay. In the NFC West, I got the Rams. Wait, Seals, did you just put Washington over Philly? I did. I think Washington's going to have – I don't believe Washington takes a step back. Why? All the things you said – look, this is what you guys said about Detroit. You think Detroit makes a step back because they lost coordinators. What would make it because you think the quarterback is going to have a step back? Look at C.J. Stroud, for instance. C.J. Stroud may have, in your eyes, had a step back. The second year in a row, he's been a starter during the playoffs. So you can say whatever you want about Stroud. Every year he's been a starting quarterback in Houston. Football teams made the postseason. You know, they may have been able to read him a little bit better. Maybe he wasn't quite as efficient as he was in his first year. But he still made the playoffs. And he still stretched Kansas City at Arrowhead. Okay? Hit the like button here. Folks, tell you what we're going to do here. We're going to take a time out here. We're going to try to run down our friend John Morgan. If we can't, obviously, guy's a billionaire, so hopefully we're able to catch up with him here. But let me do this now. Don't forget Morgan & Morgan, number one injury law firm in America, with over $30 billion in recovery for their clients across the country. I told you, they have thousands of attorneys from coast to coast defending you each and every single day, especially when you call in. We had a person show me that they had a referral that Morgan & Morgan took their case. Already working on the case. That's exactly, again, why you pick Morgan & Morgan. If you're ever injured, do me a favor. Go to forthepeople.com/bigsills or poundlaw529. That's forthepeople.com/bigsills or poundlaw529. And do me a favor. You tell them Big Sills sent you.
This is Eric. When he got injured in a car accident, he called Morgan & Morgan. He not only gets a lawyer, he gets trial lawyers like Sam and Jessica who are in it to win it. He gets his own investigators with briefcases, leather ones. And if you ever have questions, our customer service folks keep things rolling. Injured? We're your army. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm.
Your financial future is on the line. Are you ready for what's next? At Leone & Company Wealth Management, we help young professionals, business owners, and pre-retirees navigate the complexities of building and protecting wealth. For young professionals, we'll help you grow your wealth, plan for your future, and make the most of your hard-earned dollars. For business owners, we provide strategies to protect your company, manage risks, and create a lasting legacy for both your business and personal wealth. For pre-retirees, we'll design a plan to secure your retirement, ensuring you can live comfortably and confidently in your next chapter. Whether you're just starting out, managing a thriving business, or preparing for retirement, we're here to help you take control of your financial future. The first consultation is on us. Get the advice you need without the cost. Let's make your financial vision a reality. Take the next step. Scan the QR code to schedule your free consultation today. And of course, go Birds.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on three. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
In our hometown, we all look out for each other. We step up to keep our communities going strong. And at Independence Blue Cross, we're here to keep you going strong as the #1 health insurer in the region. No IBX is always looking out for you.
EAGLES. Eagles.
I see people in here saying Big Sills picked Washington to win it last year. I did. They won 12 games, and they were in the NFC Championship game. I missed it by a few games. What has Washington done that makes you think Washington will have a step back compared to what Philly has done this offseason? Name me one thing. Let me ask you this. Has Washington improved their roster? Yes. Have the Eagles? No. Or, even if you want to have an argument, incomplete. Okay, I'll go there. Get this. How do you know you're better on defense? How do you know that? I don't. You know, it's funny. People will look at a unit and think because you lost the player, that's why I'm saying you're not as good. You're not number one. You will not be in the top 5 in defense this year. Let me ask you this. Jalen Hurts said it today. Defense wins championships. Did he not? Jalen Hurts said it today. Defense wins championships. That wasn't me that said that. He said it. Okay, I'm just going by your quarterback, a savior. Okay? Get this. Seals, you don't know how the Eagles took a step back because you lost Pro Bowlers and you lost starters from a year ago. And you don't have the proper replacements. Where do you think you got better? Name me one place that you have on your roster right now. A Dory Jackson, you believe is better than Darius Slay is a joke. A rookie from Nebraska and Moro Ajomo being better than Milton Williams is a joke. Or Josh Sweat is a joke. Who you got at safety? And if Nakobe doesn't play, you've got 2 rookies fighting it out for the other linebacker spot. I don't know how good you're going to be, but you're not going to be what you were a year ago. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't believe it. Okay? I don't. I don't. Why? Where did you get better, Dro? Dro, where did you get better? Name me a place on your defensive football team. Where'd you get better? This will be interesting. Not really. Where did you get better? You sound like you've never watched a football game in your life. Where did you get better? This will be interesting. You want to see an ignorant comment? Whatever Dro puts up here. Okay, listen. Thanks for the insult. Okay, where did you get better, asshole? Okay, so far you've posted 3 times and you haven't answered the question, dickhead. Where did you get better? You got one last time. You got one last. Okay. Send this guy to the corner with a dunce hat on because all he does is he's stupid. He can't respond because he's not intelligent enough. See, look, these were 5 posts that I would even give Twiz and Prince and anybody more of a leeway because they would have some content. This guy's just a douche. He doesn't know what he's talking about. So he thought insulting me on 5 posts. Watch this. Washington lost their best. No, they didn't. Jonathan Allen was not an impact player last year for him. Bro, Washington losing people and you off the number 1 defense losing people are a different room. I'm done with you. Go sit in the corner with your dunce hat on. I signed sophomore slump for Daniel Sill. Teams have film on him. Okay. That's a theory, right? That's a theory that he's going to. That's not actual fact. You're assuming that. Okay? If you kept the same players, but once again, out of context, senorita. Okay? Let's see here. Until they got off the field, you don't know. Devin White was starting ahead of Baun at this time last year. Okay? So you think you have the same talent on your roster that you did a year ago with guys that have been on your team for 2-3 years. The only guy that wasn't on your team for any length of time were the 2 rookies and Baun. Everyone else was on the team 2-3 years. This year, you've got Maro Ajomo that's going to step in, who can't play the run. And you got Ty coming from Nebraska, correct? Okay. You've got a new corner who the coordinator didn't even like a year ago. Look, I'm going over the same shit here. It's going over the same stuff. It's redundant. I'm doing it. Wasting my breath. The certainty that our defense will be able to be as good as next year is gone. The likelihood we're not as good is reasonable. But it's impossible for this group to be coached up to be as good as a chance to be as good. All right. They're going to get great coaching, but the results. Hey, Sue, after all this time, pissed? No, I just get fed up with it. I'm not. But as a matter of fact, what happens is after a while, that guy like Dro, I don't even see it. It just, just looks like, and I hear like white noise now. I am? How do you know? Sue, again, like I said, I get pissed at what? Somebody talking about sports? You're ridiculous. Sports talk doesn't make me upset. Somebody talking about my kid does. Boy, Jesus criminy. You got to be kidding. My tone? Well, welcome to the world of Italians. Jesus criminy. So you judge people by the tones? What else do you judge them by? I can only imagine. This dude don't know what the deal is clearly. What's the deal? Yeah. Opinions are like assholes. Just like Sue. Everyone has one. Hurts is the best dual threat in the game. Kyle, so he's better than Lamar, right? Right? He was talking to Lamar. Is that right? You think he's better than Lamar? If I had to win a game, I might take Hurts over Lamar. Get this. So wait a minute here. Let's take a look at Lamar here. This will be fun. Let's take a look at Lamar. Lamar. Let's go to Lamar. And by the way, he's the best player on the field. So Lamar, 41-72, 41 touchdowns, 4 picks, 119 rating. How many games they win? 13? How many rushing yards did he have? 750. Oh, God. That's got to be one of the most historic seasons in the history of the National Football League. And your quarterback, like I said, showed up for 2 weeks of the season. Hurts showed up for the NFC title game and the Super Bowl. Most important games of the year. Absolutely. Does he have a ring? Right. Bro, like I told you before, that don't mean he's better. Because you have a ring doesn't solidify you being better than someone else. Do you really believe that? That you think if you win a Super Bowl ring, you're a better player than Joe Burrow? Wait a minute. I didn't realize that. So you think that Jalen Hurts having a Super Bowl ring is better? He's better than Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, right? And Lamar. Do you believe that? Wait a minute. Do you believe that Jalen Hurts is a better player than Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson? Do you believe that? Yes or no? This guy believes that Jalen Hurts is a better football player than Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson. That's an asshole's comment. I don't know what else to say. That's not the case. You guys believe that? So you believe that A.J. Brown's a better player than Randy Moss and Megatron, right? Or Saquon Barkley's a better player than Jim Brown or OJ, right? I didn't realize this is what you think, that a Super Bowl does this. Absolutely not. A Super Bowl is a team accomplishment. It's not an individual accomplishment. So you believe that Trent Dilfer is better than Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow, right? Or wait a minute. Here's one better. Not using your guy, Jalen. You believe that Joe Flacco is better than Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson, right? Just say it. Yes, I believe that. No, I'm just reading how you guys see what a Super Bowl does. No, I am speechless. Nobody on the planet would ever say Troy Aikman's better than Brett Favre because he's got 3 rings. And Favre has 1. Nobody in their mind would ever say that. Nobody would ever say, so Jalen Hurts is better than Dan Marino. Marino never won one. He's a better player than Dan Marino. Is that right? Chat getting to me? No, I'm in astonishment on how you see this guy. It's astonishing. So wait, Hurts is better than Marino. This is great. Stat-wise? No. Eyeball test-wise. Who's better? It doesn't take much to sit there and look. Who's a better player? Let me ask you this. Do you think if Troy Aikman was on a different ball team, he wins 3 Super Bowls? So this question, what does Hurts not do that these elite quarterbacks do? Like I said, Hurts doesn't have to do anything. Like I said earlier in the show. Josh Allen had to play great for 17 weeks to win the Super Bowl MVP. Or the regular season MVP. Hurts had to play good for 60 minutes to win the Super Bowl MVP. What do you think's harder to get? Play good for 17 weeks and 6 months, or to play good in 1 game? What do you think is harder? You think it's harder to win and play 60 minutes of football or 6 months of football? What do you think is harder to do? Watch this one. What's harder to do? Play 60 minutes of football or 6 months of football consistently? What do you think? Shocked. Hurts didn't play well the whole season last year. I mean, rhetorical question. Who played good for 6 months and won the most valuable player award? What's harder to do? When it played for 60 minutes or 6 months? Rhetorical. It's a straightforward question. Being consistent every week and having a team on your back. Dude, the best year Jalen Hurts has ever played was 22. The best Super Bowl he ever played was 22. Do we all agree to that? That's the best he's played from start to finish. Right? Was 22. Did they outlaw the tush push? Apologize about John. I'm sure John had other business. I'm sure we'll get him on. Stats guy? No. Stats guy? Dude, stats get you in the Hall of Fame. Where would you put Hurts at if he ends his career with 4 or 5 Super Bowls? I'd put him in the same conversation with Troy Aikman. That's what I would do. He'd be in there with Troy Aikman. Yeah. He'd be with Aikman. Is that a bad thing? to be in a room with him. All right. Awesome stuff, guys. I appreciate you. It's always compelling, to say the least. Hey, I tell you what, I can't wait to see the real. Is it going to be 16.5 or 21 million for old Sirianni when these numbers come out? And if they ever do come out, okay? If they ever do. All right, guys, do me a favor. Please hit that like button. Joe, Big Z, thank you. 2 to 6 tomorrow, and we shall see you on the flip side.